depth charge, all of these things, viable statements I could have said and didn't. Just out of time there for the Gnarl and Hodgson now taking a fair amount of damage, but that's a lot of Sanguine Blade
He's just
damage.
standing still and autoing.
Are you sure this is a good idea, Hodgson?
This game, it's...
Working the grill, Bill, it ain't so tough. But first of all, you got to check your stuff. Like a grill that's set at 250 with the meat and cheese. その髪型のあなたにドクターヘアジェリー。ドクターヘアジェリー。全国の区切りで発売中。
Bodge, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2023. We're here in Bahrain, in Sakir, in the nice, smooth desert. It's about 19 degrees out there right now. 5-mile-per-hour winds. You know, it's nice and cool. And today I'm here with the voice of ELF1. Cradden, say hello.
Hello, everyone. It's Sakir in the new year. Let's give everyone a steer. Hi, guys. I'm Cradden, and you've just heard Travis's voice. It's going to be great.
Let's get it. Right. So what are we up to today, Dan? What's happening?
Oh yeah, we're doing F1, aren't we? Yeah. So this is going to be the first race back after the holidays. Everyone's eaten their turkeys, celebrated Hanukkah, had a joyous Kwanzaa, whatever you want to do in the holidays, or as Zydox would have it, actually smurfed F1 during New Year. And now we're getting back to VLF1. Everyone's realizing who the people they hated were, realizing who their racing rivals are, realizing who the people they called words that I'm not going to use on this broadcast. And they're going to get familiar again with them today. We're back to the season. Still early days. We've had 4 races out of 24. We're seeing sort of the power rankings, who's getting stronger, who's getting weaker, and which project captain who's been in the league since its inception only has 2 points. But apart from that, we're going to get to grips with some really good racing today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well then. Where are we racing today? What's it all about?
What's it all about? Well, you mentioned Sakir already. We're in Bahrain. It's a nice hot desert. Hopefully we're going to get a hot and dry race. None of that pesky rain around here. We couldn't handle it. We're going to hopefully get some clean running, some fast racing. And Bahrain, it's quite an open circuit. There's no solid walls on either side like you'd see in Saudi Arabia or like you'd see in Monaco. Or like you'd see in prison. What you're actually going to see is just a lot of fast racing, lots of runoff area. And if drivers can avoid a few areas like what I'm going to say is chunk section in Sector 2, and avoid spinning off during brain surgery, which I think is turns 11 and 12, then they're going to be able to just focus on the racing, focus on the pace, and not worry about totaling the car on the nearest wall. Is it one of your favourite tracks?
Personally, I like it purely because of the DRS sections that brings everyone nice and close together, usually, and it invites some overtakes and wheel-to-wheel racing. So I'm excited to see. I'm happy to see everyone back again. It is the new year. We've been away for a while. I'm down for it. let's do it. But let's move on. Let's talk about rosters. Who's on the field today?
Yeah, let's do it. So we've got most of our drivers coming back. We had a nice little situation at the start of the season where we had 20 drivers signed up, and the roster was 20 big, so we got everyone a seat. We've got 2 drivers away today, so that's Nawar in Alfa Romeo inside Project Ferrari. Also, our perpetual Mexican absentee flyer, leaving Charlie alone in Haas. He's got the only drive in the grey at the moment. So we've got 18 drivers at the moment. I know there was a bit of worry about Dorman. Have you heard from your Red Bull boys at all? Do you know if he's feeling okay?
I believe just about everyone is got the jitters. Everyone needs that shakedown.
Fantastic. I can hear a few shouts in the background, so while Travis goes and deals with those, I'll talk through a bit of the rest of the roster. Mercedes has a full complement, so Project Captain Blaze leads out his boys Somther and both of the Deutsche Vernichtungsmaschine, Impress and Carlos. I'm still not used to seeing Hodgson in Red Bull. It's weird to me. I don't like it, but I want to see what results he gets. If it gets him a win in Styria, then surely he can follow it up. He's got Mancho alongside him. Miffy and Dorman, really great mid-table performances so far. They're going to be in AlphaTauri. Glenn Franklin and Envy in Ferrari. We've got Maka and Wilder. Wilder actually scoring a few surprise points so far this season, coming up in McLaren. I'll skip one for now. Monty and Shadowhopper in Alpine. Zydox holding it down for Haas in Solo. And the one I skipped was Aston Martin. They are absolutely pogging it at the moment. Even with Sonny getting points dropped, a penalty in Saudi Arabia, dropping him from 1st to 5th, they still lead the Constructors' Championship. Sonny and Gaben are the team to beat. They are currently 2nd and 5th in the championship. They've got 4 podiums between them. They've got a race victory courtesy of Sonny in Austria. So they're definitely the constructor to worry about. But yeah, we've got a lot of good drivers in there. Trav, if you're back, anyone particularly catch your eye? Anyone who you want to see the return of today?
I want to see Zydox, see what he can do again. The last 2 races, he took the W. Can he do it once more? It's really sad to see that his teammate's not around, but we knew it from the start that Flyer wasn't going to show up to most races due to his schedule. Yeah, can he take on the Aston Martin gang? Is my question.
It's going to be really close. Like at the start of the season, most people's power rankings were Haas versus Aston Martin. It's like we've seen in previous efforts. We had Calm in season 4 scoring loads for Haas and just waiting on. I can't even remember if he had a permanent teammate or if he had different reserves switching in. We had the same with Red Bull and Aston Martin last season because of the switching out. Sonny having Zydox a lot of the time, but not having a sub for the remaining amount of time. To do a solid attack on the Constructors' Championship, you need both your drivers, even if they're not lighting the world on fire, showing up consistently, getting good points. So I think we might see teams like Ferrari, Glenn and Franklin. They're the mold of drivers who'll treat the season a bit like a marathon, get consistent lower points, but that's the sort of thing that tells you apart at the end of the season. But even so, on a single day, Aston Martin are difficult to beat. They may not get the dub. Zydox is probably my hot favourite, but they're my favourite to get the highest number of constructors points today.
On the other side of the things, we've got teams like Alfa Romeo, Williams, Alpine at the bottom. Do you think they can upset the bottom half?
Yeah, let's have a look. So Alpine, they've got 12 points. 12! And they've only got those points courtesy of Whopper. He scored a 4th place position in Azerbaijan. Monty, Envy, and Blaze for me. Blaze has 2 points from that 10th place in Styria, but I think they've just not had the right performances so far this season. They've classified a total of, let's get this right, 10 times out of a potential 12 without points. So they're finishing races. They've got all right pace, just things haven't gone right for them. We can take examples of Monty's great strategy calls throughout the years, getting a 0-stop Silverstone right, being fairly high in the points in one of the Austrian races until the end of the race. Blaze was in P6 or P7 before some last-lap misfortune in Styria. So it's those sorts of drives we look for to get people up the table. I'd definitely say Alpine can kick on. Looking towards the rest of the bottom of the table, like you called out, Williams, I think Carlos and Impress are really on the verge of getting a good score. They've got 2 P9s, which has given them their points so far. They've got 2 P11s, so that they are knocking on the door. It's a matter of time until they get there. With that said, this track, Bahrain, it's a lot less about maneuvering. It's not so Machiavellian. You don't have to sort of pick your moment and pick your pit stop. It is kind of about pace. So we'll see which drivers have sweated, which ones have sort of worked on their pace, worked on that consistent lap-on-lap timing, because that's what I think is going to get them the points. I can see Alpine, maybe Whopper getting in the points. I don't see Williams doing it today. I certainly don't see Envy doing it today. It's more going to be sort of Ferrari and McLaren. I think they'll jump up from where they are at the moment.
Excellent. Well, yeah, we've got the invites coming out, so it looks like the lobby is starting to get ready. But while that's going on, what do you think will be a good outcome for the race for everyone?
It depends who you ask, if I'm honest, Trav, because for us, I think we want to see like 6 safety cars and like 15 KOs. Technically, the word is retirement or DNF, but KO perfectly encapsulates what I want to see. Yeah, it's not going to be like that, unfortunately. Even though we've had a few safety cars in Bahrain in the past, I think it's unlikely that we'll see it again. I don't know if you agree with me.
I do.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a fast-paced race. Not too many opportunities for collision. If we're going to see retirements, I think it will be from people losing control, spinning out at the trunk wall, brain surgery turn 2, not really colliding into other drivers for position. We've got damage on, it used to be simulation for Season 4. I want to say we're on the simulation model, but on reduced damage rate. So the sorts of frequent collisions that you see with people jostling for corners. We saw it in Baku a few times with Mercedes and Ferrari. I don't think we're going to see the retirements from those. Maybe an extra pit stop. Certainly not a safety car. Certainly not a retirement. I think we'll see quite a smooth race. As you said, I think Zydox will be the favourite to win. One thing I wanted to ask you about in return, though, was Mancho, because he's in Red Bull colours. He says this is his favourite track. And looking at the sweatboard at the moment, the dry time trial for Bahrain, he's second on there. He's comparable with Zydox and well clear of yourself, Sonny, Gaben, a lot of the top field. Do you think he can bring home a podium or a win today?
I was hoping to keep quiet about that, to be honest. He was sort of like the hidden weapon, you know, the one that's tied around your ankle or something. But yeah,
not the back pocket. He's tied around your ankle. He's weighing you down.
Yeah, mate. You know them ones. But you never say never, right? Things can always happen, and if it goes right for him, then we could see big things from Mancho today.
Yeah. On the other hand, if he wasn't to win, what do you think his biggest weakness is? Is it sort of combat with other drivers? Is his pace not quite up to Zydox? What would you say is his biggest weakness?
From prior entanglements with Mancho.
Bonjour.
Yeah. It's gotta be wheel-to-wheel combat and just keeping himself going lap after lap consistently. I think the second he loses confidence with a wobble or some sort like that puts you off your game. That's what's gonna throw him into the wall and have a little bit of a chunk wall moment. Speaking of, can you tell those that aren't enlightened what the chunk wall was all about?
Okay, so the trunk wall, I don't actually know the full details of this, but I'll tell you where it is on the track. So Bahrain, 3 sectors like any track. As you get out of sector 1 into sector 2, there's a little bit of a wiggle. There's no real hard turns. You have to sort of swing your car around in 5th, 6th gear. And I think it's turn 5 where you go to the left, and you have to swing your car to the left just enough to go right for turn 6. And just after turn 6, you have to get it just right enough so you keep your acceleration and swing left for turn 7. The problem on turn 7 is there's a raised curb, and if you slightly touch the curb, you will go to McDonald's, to Narnia, to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, to Mario Rainbow Road, to every existential plane that is not Bahrain, and you'll go sliding off to the left at really high speed. Unfortunately, for a certain Mercedes project captain, that high speed moving off to the left leads to one of the only solid walls you're likely to encounter in Bahrain. And yeah, the chunk sound was, you'll have to see the clip in either Discord or Twitch chat. Ask any of the VLF1 guys, they'll find it for you. Blaze was in chat with Somther and Stillbend at the time, and there was just a classic car goes off, car hits wall, loud reverberating deep trunk sound, followed by Brandon hitting him with the signature table smash at that point. So for me, that's one of 3 places drivers will go off. One is sort of turn 1, 2, 3, little complex. It's really hard to get traction for the perfect line round there. The other is what we call in VLF1 brain surgery. So after the DRS straight in sector 2, going around to the left for turn 11, big sweeping round to the right for turn 12. Those two turns really test your lateral traction, especially as tyre wear increases. So it's easier and easier as the race goes by to lose control of the car, have the car spin out, and yeah, so we called it brain surgery because it's just a very difficult thing to manage in the heat of the moment. So yeah, we're going to be seeing those three as flashpoints in this race.
Right, shall we move on then? Shall we have a look at the predictions that you made yesterday?
Yeah, let's do it. I was with your boy. I was with Miffy. We were on the desk. Without going through all of them in minute detail, let's have a look at the couple of the big ones and let's see if you agree. So for the winner, we said Zydox and Mancho. I said Zydox, he said Mancho. If you said that either of those two weren't going to win, who would you have?
Sunny.
Okay, yeah, fair shout. Just really fast boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense. He's definitely got the pace. If not for penalties, he would have won in Saudi Arabia. On the other side, we said that if there was going to be a pile-up, I said it was going to be Impress turn 1. He's done it too many times over the course of his career. And Miffy went back to an old favourite, Blaze and Glenn, turns 1 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Does that land for you? Any others you want to mention?
Well, I wouldn't know whose name to put in the ring, but I can see turn 1 definitely happening. It's the fact that you start so far away from turn 1 and it's a hairpin corner. You're going to get people from the middle getting a bit over ambitious and ending up into the back of whoever's in front, right? So I can definitely see something happening there. I can also see things happening lap 1, turn 2 as well. That awkward right left from turn 1 to turn 2 usually catches people out, especially with cold tires. If you don't warm up the tires correctly on the formation lap, things can definitely happen there. So yeah, but I think once people get sent to that rhythm, I don't think you'll see too many slippages. So it's got to happen lap 1.
Yeah, well said. It's if you're racing on your own, it's difficult to manage the traction, but you've got the freedom to go for that racing line. People won't really try and overtake there. But yeah, lap 1, turn 2, to get the perfect line, you're gonna have the coldish tires. You're gonna be going in a smooth curve around to the left. You're gonna find it difficult to adjust your trajectory anyway because you're on that racing line. So yeah, that's where the magic happens, folks. So yeah, Impress, Blaze, and Glenn, they're the ones we watched out for yesterday. Dangerbot, Miffy went for Impress there. I said Wilder. I think you've said the same just now. You're not really looking to pull a single name out the hat, just worried in general for a few particular turns. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Nice. Dark Horse. So if we ignore any ankle weights or any secret weapons, I went for the other junior Red Bull. Well, I went for another Project Red Yeah, boy.
Yeah,
Got a
Mancho,
match
you
your
already
own.
said his time trial time. It's bizarre. Hello again, stream. So we were on Dark Horses. I believe you picked Dormin,
Yeah,
and
boy.
Miffy picked Mancho.
So
So we were just going over what my thoughts were on the 2 picks, and yeah, Mancho, you already spoke about his time trial times. It's just bizarre, really. He's really, really quick. And as for Dormin, he's shown once already in that first round of Austria what he can do. If he can bring some of that energy back in again, it'd be fantastic. But besides those two, dark horses, man.
yeah, it's so weird
Gabin?
because we're coming back from the holidays. You feel like you wanna look back to last week and we can't. Gaben's up there, yeah, 2 second places.
Yeah. But yeah, besides that, I see some flickering lights in the lobby. So let's get the show on the road, right?
Let's get it. Yeah,
I'm excited. Let's get it to quali.
yeah. Desert Jewels. Let's yeah, of course we've got the pre-show, we've got qualifying, and then later on we'll see the main event. So it should be fantastic.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We won't be too far.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bahrain International Circuit here at the Sakir Desert. Coming up for you, we have qualifying, followed by a race, which will be 29 laps. It is a clockwise track with 15 turns, 10 to the right, 5 to the left. A grand total of 3 DRS straights, the maximum of any track on the calendar. The P1 starts on the left side of the track, as I said, clockwise, so the first turn is a quite sharp right-hand turn. It's very much a racing track, however, there is a very low chance for the safety car. I'm joined with my co-commentator, Cradden from the desk. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Alex. It's good to have you back. How are your holidays?
They weren't too bad. Pretty chill, apart from getting the old Rona. How about you?
Yeah, doing well. I dodged the Rona myself. You might be able to hear the remnant of a Barry White voice, but I will tell everyone about the cold or flu I've got, but it would be boring. Everyone's had it in the last 3 weeks from my friends, family, and probably racing circles as well. But yeah, it's gonna be really fun to test that in today's commentary.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it holds up, especially given you're doing 2 jobs at once. I'll try and make it a lot easier for you, not ask you too many difficult questions, but the pressing one. Are we excited for this qualifying session coming up?
Absolutely, Alex, and I think we're just getting footage of Q1 coming through now, so let us know if you see any problems with the footage, and we'll get our boy Stillben to fix it. He's running between 3 desks at the moment. But return to your question, Alex, yeah, should be fantastic. I'm excited to see the drivers as they come back from the Christmas break. I do kind of like seeing this sort of extended break and its effect on the roster, because some drivers, Charlie, will have just played F1 throughout, will have just sweated through the love for the game, whereas a lot of our grid will have just enjoyed the break, moved away from the regular competition, used it as an opportunity to have a nice little gap, maybe touch grass in real life, I don't know, but probably not VLF1, they're all sort of sweaty nerds. We'll see them get back into competitive action, and the first time we see them do that is here in Q1. Our top 15 times in Q1 will take us through to Q2. There's not really a battle of tyre strategy yet, so I'm expecting all of our drivers to go with the C4s, the soft tyres, which is our softest possible compound today. And it's just going to be a battle to see who can avoid being one of the 2 slowest here in Sakir.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see people starting to filter out of the pits. The track's starting to get quite busy now. People obviously, after the break, eager to get out on track. It looks like Wildo will be the first one to set a lap as he's coming around sector 2 here. Coming up to probably the most difficult corner on the track, in my opinion. It's a very sharp downhill left-hander, very easy to lose your car there. We've seen pile-ups at that corner, especially at the start of the race where people are built up, they spin their car, and people just get driven into the side of. It can be a mess. As he comes up to corner we've nicknamed brain surgery with how technical it can be. Put your tyre in the wrong position, it can spin you out. Coming up to the end of sector 3 here, we'll have a benchmark of what the other drivers have to beat. The first time since the break, and as he comes up, opens up DRS, comes across the line, and he sets a 1:39.7. Be interesting to see whether that's good or bad for the rest of the grid. Well, as we say, that as Envy comes across with a 128.4, so that answers our question right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to wait for someone else to confirm it with a comparative time, but 139 is trash. I'm going to say it live on stream. He's going to need to improve on that one, but I have faith in Wilder. Looking back to Season 5, when Travis got pole, his fastest time in Q3, when he had maximum track evolution, minimum fuel, and less competition on track, was 126.356. So our drivers today are still a far cry from that. I think Travis, if you were here, would agree with me in saying that Zydox could probably beat his time. Mancho could probably do the same. But they're already getting close. Maka coming in with a 127.3. Both McLarens on the board, but Wilder only just. He's going to get absolutely overtaken with that time. 127.3 is good. It would have got him into Q3 last season. So it's more for our drivers. We'll see if anyone does the Hodgson/Flyer route of using Q1 as a practice session and getting a lot of laps out. Maybe trying out the toes and seeing if they can get a teammate to go behind them on the long straight between turn 14 and 15 in Sector 3, for example. Yeah, it's going to be a possible point of contrast to see which drivers come out, guns blazing. I'm expecting Zydox to do just that, as we've got the camera running now. He's on the outlap, so we'll still see about 2 minutes before he puts time on the board. But yeah, Zydox is my one to watch. I think Mancho will perform very well. Despite all of the hype, despite it being his favourite track, despite his practice, I think Zydox will have too much for him today. But this is a long slug. It's Slugfest. It's going to be 3 sessions. It's going to be the best part of 45 minutes. Unless any tragedy strikes, we'll see both of them in Q3.
Yeah, I think it's, in my opinion, or I think in history shown, pole hasn't been particularly favourable at this track. It's very dangerous to start on pole just because of how many DRS sections there are. So it might be interesting to see people who are a bit more conservative and look to attack in the race. As we see a couple of drivers spinning already early on, this bodes well for the race, but all but 2 drivers are on the track at the moment. Very busy track coming into Q1, so people are obviously eager to set a time. Interesting to see what Sonny comes around and sets a time of. This should be a benchmark for the rest of the grid, as Gaben goes 127 flat. Sonny comes across the line with a 126.6. Sort of puts the book down and says, here you go, son, beat that.
Yeah, fantastic time from Sonny there. He's beaten his own time, which was a P3 and Q3 last season, so definitely come into play today. He's ahead by 0.6 seconds, fantastic. Yeah, great point about correlation you made there, Alex. It's not always the pole position driver who gets the best point in a race. Sometimes, for example, in, I don't know, Season 3, it's the driver who crashes out in P12 in Q2, who comes back to win in Bahrain, but you wouldn't know anything about that. We're going to see Zydox and Mancho probably contend for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, as you said, if the toe comes into play. Interesting to know that Sonny has a teammate to provide that toe, whereas Zydox doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes into play, as we see Zydox going pole with a 126.2, telling Sonny to put up or shut up with that lap time. That's a really good lap time in my opinion. It's going to be interesting to see if that improves later in the sessions, but to be 3.5 tenths clear already, that's really putting up a time to beat.
Well said, Alex. I've already made 4 references to Season 5 times and sort of benchmarking one against the other. I'm going to stop doing that now because Zydox's time is faster than anything that was done last season. It's about 1/10 faster than Travis's pole position time. It's in Q1, low track evolution. He's not out of practice by any stretch. He's obviously done a lot of hard work on this track, but he's still got more to come and he's still got more risks to take in later sessions. So Zydox setting himself up very well. Everyone still on the soft tyres. We don't expect that to change in Q1. We expect everyone to put up their best times. Q1, as I alluded to earlier, it's kind of important to get a good time down. There's a nice psychological aspect to it. But really, it's about avoiding being knocked out. There's no tyre strategy battles. You get no points for finishing first in Q1. You only need to finish top 15. So as we get closer to the time hitting 0, we start to look at the drivers towards the bottom of the field. We start to look at their chances of whether they can get out of the pit, set one final lap, and then put it all out there. At the moment, everyone has set a time, which is great. Wilder's initial lap of 1:39 is nowhere near the standard of everyone else. Obviously, he must have had a few issues on his lap, so he's going to need to improve. Above him is Monty, and above him are two Merc project drivers, Blaze and Carlos. They're the ones who need to look out at the moment, although really everyone from Hodgson in P10 downwards has a time of 1:28 or greater. I think those times are well beatable in the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, out of the drivers that are in the drop zone, is there anyone that surprises you? Alternatively, are there anyone out of the drop zone that surprises you that they are not looking at Q1 elimination?
Yeah, focusing on elimination for now. I would have expected the drivers down there to be generally in that position. I think Impress and Carlos are doing pretty well to get up to 11th and 12th. They probably are more tactical than pace drivers, if they don't mind me saying so. If they do, maybe they should come on the next commentary and argue with me about it. I think generally it's a good reflection of the strength of the grid. I would probably say Franklin should be a bit higher. I think Mancho maybe should be a bit higher, but still very early days yet. Blaze has definitely been in the battle to avoid relegation out of Q1 in the last few weeks. Monty the same. Between them, they've got 2 points in the championship. So I would have expected the four at the bottom, who are currently fighting to avoid elimination. They're the drivers who I'd expect to be in the battle when it comes to crunch time. So it's going to be fun to see as we get towards the end of those laps what they do. Wilder had to avoid Envy just then, but Envy was sort of off to the track to the right. And he's going to try and improve on his time, which is not the tech, shall we say.
Yeah, that's the point of the track where you really don't want to catch up to anyone. There's not much place for them to go to try and get out of the way of any upcoming cars. So you kind of just have to filter in behind them and hope you don't lose too much time. Obviously, Wilder catching him at the end of that sort of technical part, so shouldn't have lost too much time, but it's going to be interesting to see whether he can ideally pull himself out of this bottom place position. He would ideally like to make it out of Q1, but we'll have to see if that's possible as he comes around the final corner. Actually, I think that's the final 2 corners technically. Another one of those corners that doesn't really exist, and he comes across the line. He goes quicker, and he missed out bottom by a 10th. He's going to be a lot happier with that, but I think he knows he can go a bit quicker than that.
Yeah, well said, Alex. He's just sort of off the end of everyone else rather than being 11 seconds adrift. Production was calling out the time delta as well, and it was quite smooth improvement as well. I believe there were 2 seconds in the first sector, a further 6.5 in the second sector, which is quite long and intricate, and then pulling out another sort of 3.5 seconds in the final sector. So he's found improvement all across the track. He's just got to keep going at it. He's got to do so quickly. We've got 6 minutes until the time strikes 0, and drivers must be on the lap that they are setting. They can no longer start a new lap to put on the leaderboard. Wilder and Monty are currently in the drop zone. Blaze and Envy can't be feeling too good at the moment. Hodge, Impress, Carlos and Franklin still having some fun together, 1:28 or above.
Yeah, obviously we're coming down towards the end of Q1 now, which means drivers are going to be sort of, the ones who are in the danger zone are going to be slapping on a fresh set of tyres and going for their hot laps, as we see Envy's on his hot lap now, Brandon, Blaze Homewrecker coming out on his out lap. None of them leaving it to the last minute. They really want to get that lap in done as soon as possible, and then they can just sort of call it a day. Monty currently in the pits, only one in the drop zone currently in the pits. He'll be looking to come out later, as I say. Envy just comes into the pits now. He's probably got enough time to come in, put on a fresh set of tyres, come out again. Interesting that Brandon came out so much earlier than the end of the session, but I think he's looking to get that lap in and sort of relax a bit, or know what he's got to do by the end of the session.
Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, Brandon having a nice little collision with a wall there. Let's have a quick look and check what part of the circuit he was on. That looks like the end of turn 8, so that's on the approach to the hairpin. That is almost chonk corner, so Blaze gets points for consistency at least. What he doesn't get points for is damaging his car chassis in the last 4-5 minutes of Q1. So he's got a really tough task on his hands now. he's going to have to go all the way around the second half of the track, get into the box, repair, get out, and then try and set a faster lap. Technically, he's not getting eliminated at the moment, but it would just take 0.2 of improvement from either Wilder or Monty, and suddenly Blaze, his position matters, his performance is at stake. At any rate, that time is not going to get him into Q3 when we move forward to the next session, so he's going to need to get some sort of improvement on the cards. Production just calling it now. Monty is coming out of the pits. Wilder, I think, is just entering into the box now. We're seeing that live on stream. And Blaze is obviously going to need his engineers to step it into overdrive.
Yeah, he should have enough time comfortably. Normally, the way I look at it is you usually add about 30 seconds onto a lap time. It gives you comfortable out lap time to getting out the pits, to getting around the track. It's about 30 seconds to a minute. So he should be out back on the track quickly enough, but it doesn't give him much room in terms of if he invalidates his one hot lap, that means he's in real trouble if the driver, as you said, the drivers below him start setting quicker times.
Yeah, it's very unstable at the moment towards the end of Q1. Obviously, the times being so close is fantastic for a neutral. It really makes it dramatic as we go into these final moments. Often with more technical tracks, so Monaco, for example, the skill of the top drivers really tells apart, and you see a massive delta between those at the top, hashtag you and Carlos, and those at the bottom. But then in circuits like Bahrain or at shorter form Sakia, everyone's a lot closer. Everyone from Impress down to Monty is above 128. They're between 128.2, 128.5. It's those sort of little jiggles, little approaches to corners that make the difference. It's not out of the realms of possibility of all of the drivers at the bottom suddenly improving that tiniest bit. So it's important that everyone gets a bit of a spurt on. Hodgson improving into 8th, which is nice. Mancho's still sitting pretty right now. He's got further battles to fight. Zydux is 126.2, still setting him apart right now at the top of the Q1 timing stack. Monty on the track right now. We're seeing Franklin go around. It's looking like we're getting close to the hairpin here. And it's going to be a nice second gear approach. Looking good. Getting the DRS on. I believe we come to the end of Sector 2 once we get around this brain surgery section. We are actually going to go towards our Ted Kravitz here. It's actually Ted Travis. And he talks about the guys in the drop zone.
Yeah, just momentarily Glenn trying to patch himself in there, but just been into the Mercedes home. Brandon's aiming for 5/10. He knows what he needs to do. He wants that 5/10 safety gap, as we see Monty spin there, boys. Oh lord, that's a bit of a nasty one.
Yeah, Monty has absolutely fallen by the wayside there. Just pointing that one out. Obviously, that sucks for trying to get further up the grid. I think we're in the last minute or so of the session now, so he's not going to have any chance to improve on his time. So yeah, Trav, I think we can firmly talk about one of our boys in danger. Monty's gone. Grab brave.
Yeah, that's not ideal, is it? As for Wilder, both him and Marker have a plan. They have something going set up. We'll see what it is very soon because he's on his out lap now.
Fantastic work, Trav. Alex, how are we feeling? Any personal stakes in this one? Who have you got in this running?
Honestly, at the moment, I don't have any personal stakes. I just want to watch some good racing, if I'm honest. I think Bahrain is a track that can produce some really good racing and some really interesting lap times in qualifying. As we see, the checkered flag comes out. The only drivers left who can set a hot lap are Monty, Blaze Homewrecker, Blood to Be Lead, or Franklin, and Impress. The only drivers left out on track currently on their hot lap, as we see Brandon 2/10 up on his time coming into Sector 3. Last couple of corners to go. Nice long straight. With Bahrain, it's very much about your exits. You lose a lot of time down the straights if you have a bad exit, as he comes around the final corner here. He's going to choose to finish this lap just in case Monty beats him, and he moves all the way up into P12. He might be nice and happy with that, as we see Monty Currently 6.5 tenths down on his time. Looks like he's not going to be improving, unfortunately for him. So that means we do have our Q1 eliminations. What do we think about that? Seeing Wilder and Monty go out in Q1, to be expected, or any surprises in those two?
I had to hold my breath then, Alex, because Monty was just coming up to the end of lap then. I knew he was down, but I've seen Monty work his magic before. Yeah, Wilder and Monty, I'm not too surprised. I would maybe have been less surprised if Envy or Blaze were in P16. It just doesn't look like this is Wilder's track for pace. He's had a few issues with spins in a couple of the tracks so far this season. He is definitely improving. We saw that 11-second improvement earlier in the session. He improved then from there on a third hot lap. But obviously, he's up against a really stacked field. It's an increasingly stacked field here in VL. So it's, yeah, Wilder and Monty, strong drivers, but they're about where I'd expect them to be. It's not too much of a surprising result. We'll see what happens as we get into Q2. Those two drivers, Wilder and Monty, they get a nice chance to have a break, have a drink, speak to their teammates. Obviously, Monty's still cheering for Whopper. Wilder's got Maka in his corner, so they get to sort of substitute a bit as Jeffs. So, yeah, will be fantastic to see.
Yeah, as we have the end of Q1, we have the drivers getting ready for Q2, and this is where tyre choice comes into play. Drivers can choose to start on the medium tyres, but if they want to start on the medium tyres on the race and get a top 10 start, that means they have to complete Q2 on those medium tyres to set their fastest lap on that harder compound tyres. Do you reckon we're going to see any drivers go for it? Or are we going to see maybe some upsets of drivers trying to start on the mediums and then getting pipped at the flag by drivers who want to start on the softs?
It is always fun to see that battle, Alex, and it's quite appropriate that you're here with me because I think you're the peak meme example of one extreme, which is just to settle up on mediums, not really care what happens, and just retire after one lap because you've done so many times where you've got back from really bad qualifying positions and just smurfed the race. So I don't know if we'll be seeing anyone quite as extreme as you today. I don't see as many people retiring early. The pattern from Q1 is that drivers are very close to each other in terms of performance, so I don't think people will feel safe like they've beaten everyone else. We certainly won't get the experience unless it's maybe Zydox, Sunny, Gabe and Mancho, that sort of extreme top of the field, where we'll see drivers take a giant lead and go, I'm safe on mediums, let's retire. I think we'll be seeing a lot of this fight till the end of the 15 minutes.
Yeah, I do miss doing that strategy of it was the point where I wasn't really challenging for wins, and I had a couple of races where I enjoyed coming from more towards the back of the grid, so I was like, sod it, let's do it every race, let's have some fun. I would recommend it for any drivers. It is a lot of fun coming through the grid. You actually start to battle people rather than, you break away at the start and then have no one to battle for the rest of the race. Especially at Bahrain, where DRS trains can form. It's very interesting, and it is a very strategic race as we come into Q2 and we see a very good mixture of medium and soft tyres. It's going to be interesting to see who sticks with their choice. But I would say that looks probably about 60-40 towards mediums. Would you agree?
Yeah, well said. We've got, it looks like 6 drivers, maybe 5 now. So yeah, 60-40 split's a good shout. The faster drivers generally tend to go in mediums first. Some of our slower drivers might just put on the mediums for one lap or might forego them altogether and just go all out for the softs, knowing that they might need them to qualify. So one example where I think the call might have been incorrect is Mancho. He's on his outlap right now. He's selected the soft tyres, whereas I think with Mancho's speed from Q1, he should go a bit more confident. He should back himself a bit more, put on the mediums. I think he can put on a really good time and secure himself top 10, even with the slower tyre compound. But we'll see how his soft tyres play out. Maybe it's a game where he's very, very comfortable with specifically the soft tyre compound and he wants to stick to his guns. But yeah, without getting into Mancho's head right now, it's an interesting strategy. Most of our drivers are going for the mediums. They're going for the slower tyre but one where if they play a blinder, get a really solid time that beats the rest of the field, they can look at retiring early or being confident with a good banker time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do agree. It's an interesting choice to go straight for the softs, but I can also say is if it is going to be maybe like a one-stop for this race, that you're thinking, why would I do it? Looking back at what you've said before, if you are going to do a one-stop, it will be medium hard one-stop, so the soft medium, not a possibility. However, maybe with a safety car, you could stretch out a soft hard one-stop, which might be what he's banking on, as we see the first set of times coming in. Sonny going to the head of the pack with a 1:27.7. We're expecting that to be beaten by the soft runners as soon as they start setting their laps. But as we say, Mancho going to the bottom of the field obviously had a bit of an issue during his lap. But yeah, we'll have to see how the rest of this plays out as the rest of the hot laps come in.
Yeah, we saw not Hodgson, Miffy having a fun time as well. We didn't catch it on stream, but he had a bit of a slide to the left and he didn't take it back. Now, Yawl at turn 2, he went off the track to the left and there was a yellow flag for a solid 20 seconds. He's going to be getting himself back in the box. He's getting overtaken by something out on the last straight. We're looking now at Zydox, though, who's setting a 1:27.3. Great time. It's interesting to see the gap between mediums and softs, because on soft tyres he set a 1:26.2. I think I'm right in saying that number. So right now it's a 1.1 gap. So either there's a big gap between softs and mediums, or that wasn't Zydox's best lap by some distance. We've got another yellow flag coming in the early part. So Zydox just sort of gearing up. He's happy with the lap at the moment. I think he's reducing his tyre wear, knowing on some level that he's going to be taking those mediums into the race, so reducing the wear. Meanwhile, Blaze has left a sign in absolute tatters. I think he has a fear of the number 100, so he just saw it on a barge board, decided to hear the jungle drums, the red mist came down, and the car went into the board. It was chaos. Cars beat boards, by the way, so it's a nice 1v1 to have. The board, there's no chance of it racing next week, whereas Brandon certainly will be. Don't even know if he needs to pit, but it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's as we said, we've already seen quite a few spins in this qualifying session, and that's not with all the drivers racing flat out. So it's promising for the race that we might see one or two disasters, maybe spicing up the grid, as we see Dorman going P2 on the soft tyres. Dorman on those soft tyres still can't beat Zydox medium time. Zydox definitely the driver to beat during this race, and it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can knock him off that top spot.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been sleeping on Mancho a bit. Travis has said he's the secret weapon. Mancho might be sandbagging it. He hasn't shown the time that would have put him where he is on the time trial. But Zydox, he's participated in 4 race weekends. On the 2 races where his PC hasn't sent him out the window, he's finished first. He's the closest thing to a dead cert in VLF1. So absolutely the one to watch right now. He led Q1, he's leading Q2. He's beating drivers who are on a fast tyre compound, so fantastic work from him. Hodge coming round the last corner, he's going over the line, and he's gone purple on the soft tyres. It's worth saying that there is that mitigating factor of the tyre compound, but he has beaten Zydox's time. Hodgson sees number 1 for maybe the second time this season, and he's not really going to beat that on medium tyres, so Hodge has earned himself a nice little 5-minute tea break when he gets back into the pits.
Yeah, it's obviously great time from him. He's going to be happy with that, choosing to start on the soft tyres. It's definitely going to be a different strategy. You plan on running a different race to the drivers around you. At the end of the day, it's what you feel most comfortable with, and we'll have to see whether that plays into Hodgson's hands. Obviously, safety cars can play a big factor in something like this, so he's obviously looking to upset the rest of the grid, looking for that safety car. But we've got 7 minutes left in the session. We've got some drivers still out on track looking to either finished our hot lap set sort of time during the middle part of this session, but this is usually the quiet point where the drivers come into the pit, get ready to set their final flying lap and see what they can do. So currently in the drop zone, we have Miffy, Mancho, Blaze, Gaben, and Impress as we see Shadow spinning across the track at Chunk Corner. Does, however, manage to keep it out of the wall. That was quite a beautiful pirouette in the end as he ended up facing the right way on track. That's not very good for those medium tyres in terms of tyre wear, so he's going to be not looking forward to starting on those, I would say.
Yeah, well said. He's got the tyre wear on the medium tyres, but he does get an 8 from the Russian judge for that pirouette. Like that was fantastically done. He's not in the drop zone, so he's not too worried at the moment. But yeah, compared to Q1, we've got quite a few drivers who haven't set a lap yet. Gaben, I think, has tried to set one twice. I could be wrong. I haven't been following his lap times intimately. He's coming around the final DRS straight now, about to go into turn 16. So hopefully he's going to get something on the board. He's on the medium tyres. I would expect him to be sort of top 5. He's been really pogging it. He's got good times right now. Where's he going to go? He is exactly 5th. Called it, boys. 127.9. He's pretty safely up there. The drivers in the drop zone right now, even if you got an improvement off them, it's unlikely you see them improving past Gaben.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what comes in. I would say most of the drivers in the grid now. Are there any drivers in the drop zone you are surprised to see there? Personally, for me, Miffy and Mancho, seeing them both down there, especially with Mancho being on those soft tyres. But yeah.
I was just going to... Yeah, I'm backing up exactly what you just said there. Main one that jumps out is Mancho, given his great performance in time trial and then in Q1. He just hasn't found that spark again and needs to in the next 5 minutes. Miffy as well. I think Carlos, who's just set a 127.9, is doing the right thing. A couple of the drivers who maybe don't have as much pace as they could are reverting to that soft tyre and just going absolutely ham, trying to set the best possible times that they can.
And we're just going to quickly hand it over to our Ted Kravitz. Travis, what have you got for us?
Hello, boys. Yeah, just a quick observation. So at the start of the session, I did a quick lap around the pit wall, and all the teams seemed pretty dead set that the mediums were the best tyre. And now, look at it. Teams are starting to swallow the metaphorical cheese wedge, and the soft tyres are coming out. Even the non-English speaking team of Aston Martin are starting to realise maybe soft tyres will get me a better place on the grid. So yeah, just a quick little pointer that teams know that the mediums are the best ones to start on, but starting to toy with the idea of whether they should have a better starting position or not.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'll lead. We had that perfect Mexican standoff on the broadcast then. Yeah, Impress doing a fantastic pirouette there. Whether you see the metaphorical cheese wedge or Brandon crashing into a wall come to VLF1, you'll see debris either way. We've got Impress in a really good position at the moment. We also saw Dormin get his way into P3. Fantastic time on the softs. To back up what Ted Kravitz has just said, we've got drivers starting to realise that softs will get them almost an instant 1 second advantage. And when that saves you from dropping out of Q2, drivers will be pressing that button almost instantly. Envy is going around the early part of the track right now, looking to improve in the drop zone at the moment. Franklin on the outlap. Miffy and Blaze in the pits, but they are sure to be leaving it in the next minute or so. Miffy, in fact, on the exit right now. Mancho is the one I'm watching out for. He's half a second quicker right now. He's coming around, I think that's the final corner, so he really hasn't given himself too much credit. That's, for a guy who's like 3 seconds off the pace, that's not a world-beating achievement. But Sector 3 was where he messed it up last time, and he's absolutely taken out those errors. 127.4 on the mediums, Alex. He's 1/10 off Zydox.
Yeah, it's getting spicy now. You see someone taking it to Zydox, getting really close up in there. You see the next closest to them is Sonny back down in 5th, so it's really looking like it might be a shootout between Zydox and Mancho coming into Q3. As we see both Mercedes drivers coming out on the soft tyres. They're not feeling safe, and it's going to be interesting to see if anyone else follows suit.
Final 2 minutes, let's go. The soft tyres are really coming out right now. We've received word from production that everyone except Mancho is on the soft tyres. They're going for the speed at the cost of race strategy. But if they need it to get into the top 10, then hashtag worth is what they're going to say. Not everyone can be like Charmander and win from P12 in Season 3. Travis had to win from pole both times, Season 4, Season 5. I think Blaze might have just had an interesting run round the hairpin, but I'm reading the minimap a bit interestingly there. Blaze and Somtha are stacked together. Let's have a look at Dormin, who is absolutely pogging it down the track at the moment. He's going to be coming up to the final corner. Already in a very good position himself. Drop zone right now. Maka, Shadowhopper, Franklin, Miffy, and Blaze. Shadowhopper and Blaze are on the outlaps. I think Shadow might be a bit late to the party, but we'll find out later. Dormin smurfing it on soft tyres, but no prizes for P1 at this stage. It's all about the drop zone. We're going to be seeing Maka coming round, and there he is in P2. He's out the drop zone. Franklin also out the drop zone on the soft tyres. Dropping Impress and Somtha in there. Impress is in the pits. Suddenly, he's gone.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's obviously not going to get out for another lap time, so he must have invalidated and decided, or maybe had some damage and decided he wasn't going to be able to set an improved lap time in that. So we see more drivers coming around set their lap times. The drop zone currently being Impress, Somtha, Shadowhopper, Miffy, and Blaze. Obviously, everyone out on soft, so this is real crunch time now.
Yeah.
As we see Envy coming across the line, staying P10. Sonny coming across the line now, just about to start his hot lap, makes it round in time.
Yeah, Gaben doing the same.
Yep, starting his hot lap. Miffy now on his hot lap, coming around the final corner. Where's he gonna go? Up into P10. He just makes it, but with some drivers below him, he could set another hot lap if he's got the battery to do it.
And update, Whopper has gone. He has finished his lap. He couldn't start another one. He's locked in P14. He's gone. By the way, I'm going to direct production to Somtha, who is currently on track at the moment. He's in a tow with Blaze. Blaze is directly behind him. Merca activating emergency tow strategies in Q2. This is how hype it is because both of them are in the drop zone. Envy, who was in P10 until a moment ago, has just been dropped into the drop zone as well. He's in P11. 2 Merc drivers, the senior Merc drivers, they're fighting for their lives here. Impress also in the drop zone. This could be 3 Mercs leaving at this stage. Have they got it in their hands? Somtha coming towards the line. Blaze just behind him. They've put it all down here. Somtha goes into P3. Blaze goes into P6. They've both exited the drop zone. Gaben is on the edge of getting eliminated. Miffy and Envy on their final laps at the moment. Envy coming to the final corner. He is 2/10 down, so Gaben rests for now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see drivers coming across the line. Where's Envy going to finish? He's not going to improve. Stays P13. Miffy's 1 second up on his time. That's a massive improvement, especially given he's just coming off another hot lap.
He's going to knock out Gaben.
Final corner. Is he going to knock out Gaben? Has he improved enough?
He's done it.
Yes, he has. He moves up to P3, and Gaben is eliminated.
Is gone in Q2. What the heck? That was on no one's cards.
And Sonny down in P10 at the end of Q2 just scrapes through. Wow, is all I can say to the end of that. That was an exciting end to the finish of that. Our eliminated drivers, Gaben, Franklin, Envy, Impress, and Shadow. What a Q2.
Yeah, like, let's read out these positions and let's see if they make sense. Dormin and Miffy in P1 and P3, Hodgson in P5, Zydox in P6, Blaze in P7, Mancho on his favourite track and 10th of Zydox in P8, Sunny in P10, Gaben out in Q2. It just reads like a month of Sunday's Mad Clown Show zone. It's not like a real set of timing stacks. But that's what you get when you see the tyre strategy flip on its head. I want to see so many more Q2s like that. That was beautiful. It just typifies the tyre strategy battle going against the fight to be top 10. And Gaben being gone is the story of the round for me. Like, it's just crazy. It doesn't happen. He's so fast. But so were the other drivers on mediums, and they just didn't have the right tools to do the job. As Ted Travitt said, they were just moved aside at the last moment.
Yeah, it's obviously Gaben being a driver that people are expecting maybe even challenging for the Drivers' Championship coming into this season. And he's knocked out, and obviously his teammate Sonny, current Drivers' Champion holder, down in P10. So anything can happen when you throw some soft boys in there. Obviously, the gamble to stay on those mediums didn't pay off for him. So we'll have to see how that plays out during the race. He's obviously got a bit of a mountain to climb, and obviously we do have historical evidence of being able to win outside the top 10. But back when that happened, there was a lot of safety car shenanigans that helped with that. So you can't guarantee that's going to happen every race, especially at a track like Bahrain where the safety car is so rare.
Yeah, to be honest, Alex, I'm just overwhelmed by that set of results that happened. Ted Kravitz is already talking about the choking the cheese in off-stream chat. It's an absolutely crazy thing to have happened. It's the eternal question people have been asking since the dawn of time. Who would win a World Drivers' Championship and someone who's won 2 races on the bounce or 4 soft boys? That's what's just been answered here in Q2. Gaben has got to be devastated, but he's very good. He's very calm under pressure. He's in a really solid constructors partnership. As much as I want to flame, I can't. It's just an off qualifying for him. He'll be back, and he'll be back in the race after this Q3, which is going to be glorious. Showdown time.
Yeah, this is where people put money where their mouth is. There's suggestions of people looking a bit weak. This is where we really find out who is on form, whose track this is, and what those final results are going to be. As we see everyone sort of just behind us sat in the grid, as we see Sonny being the first one to come out of the pits. He wants to set down the marker for the rest of the grid to follow.
Yeah, let's have a look here as we are about to enter Q3. This is the showdown. Already the song by the Black Eyed Peas is playing in my head. It's the song I played every time I got into Q3. It's that iconic. We've got Blaze and Somther leading out for Merck, Hodge and Mancho leading out for Red Bull Senior Team. And they've got all 4 Red Bulls out on the track. Murphy and Dorman joining them. We've got Carlos joining the 2 Mercs. It could have been disastrous for Merck, but only Impress left. Zydox was on his own at the start of Q1, and he's still repping it into Q3. We've got Sonny there for Aston Martin without Gabe and his teammate, which could be crucial. And then we've got Maka in McLaren Orange with Wilder egging him on, backing him up. And this is it. This is 12 minutes. We've got all the drivers, presumably only soft tyres, minimum fuel, maximum track evolution, everyone setting the fastest possible times they can. There's no tyre strategy battles. It's all about the pole position, or if you can't get pole, to get as high up the grid as you can. Fastest time counts. Caps on, flares up. Let's trash NA or whatever Reddit says on League of Legends. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah, as we see all but one driver now out, getting ready to start their hot lap. Sonny round in sector 3, getting his tyres nice and warm into those peak conditions as he comes around the final corner ready to start his hot lap. It's going to be interesting to see whether the Sonny Q2 time was representative or whether he has something hidden up his sleeve. It would be foolish of us to count him out no matter what's going on.
Yeah, I'm going to count him out. Trash driver, if I'm honest. He couldn't finish a dinner, couldn't manage a piss up in a brewery, couldn't drive a golf ball. He's washed, if I'm honest. He'll be lucky to get top 10 in this qualifying session.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he does. He, as the saying goes, couldn't hit a barn door with a shotgun.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see if those words will echo back on Mean Clips as he gets a stunning pole. But yeah, the beauty of Q3 is you've got that time pressure. You don't have 18 or 15 minutes like in the earlier sessions. You've got to really use your time efficiently. On shorter tracks, you can get 3 stints out, each of them being a single hot lap. This is about the middle ground because you can maybe get 3 laps out, but you have to be perfect, no traffic, and you can't have your teammate holding you up. So a couple of the drivers like Maka and Zydox and Sonny, who are on their own in the garage, they have the advantage. They can have all of the pit crew to themselves. They can leave when they want to. They can leave their friends behind. More of that song goes in another broadcast. And what they can do is they can get those 3 stints out. It has to be perfect. If you can't do that, you get 2 laps on a stint and do a 2-stint Q3. Hodgson having a bit of an issue in the early part of the track. Normally that would suck. It sucks even more in Q3 when your final position counts and every lap is crucial. I think Hodge has just lost his attempt at a banker time, which will put lots of pressure on him for that final run-in.
We see some of the lap times coming in. We see Sonny going P1 with a 1:26.549. Sonther 6.5 tenths behind him. Maggio another 7 tenths. We see more times filtering in. We've got Maka, Dormin setting their lap times all over half a second up from Sonny. So we might be eating our words here, but obviously that might have had a mistake from Maggio in, and we still have yet to see Zydox's lap time. As he is currently on his out lap, not even on his hot lap yet. So we've got quite a while to see. As we see a couple of drivers already spinning at turn 2. It's definitely a very difficult corner. You put your power on slightly too early and your car just goes spinning off. Fortunately, keep it out of the wall. You don't Romain Grosjean on it. And then you can keep going. Your tyres might be a bit warm, but if you look after them, it should be all right. As we see Hodgson looking to set his actual hot lap now. He span at the start of his previous hot lap. Hopefully this one goes much better for him. As we come around the corner where he span out last time, keeps it nice and straight. Going into the first DRS zone, down into turn 4. Nails it nicely, hangs on. Now you've got to navigate a set of nice flowing corners here. So you see Zydox preparing to start his hot lap now, coming around the final corner. Yeah, it comes across the line now. We're going to really see what the pole time to beat is, as we see Maggio improving his time, going 1/10 off Sonny. Definitely improving, but Sonny's definitely the driver to beat at the moment.
Yeah, 1:26.5 is pretty cray. He can improve on that one, of course. If we take a look from the session results from Q2, 1:26.8 was the fastest from Dormin. 1:26.2 is still the one to beat in Q1 from Zydox. So there's still a lot that can be done. There's about 5 tenths in which Zydox and Mancho can improve from there to get to their time trial times, not counting either of them out. I want to see how Hodgson improves as he gets round to the finish here. He's coming across the line shortly. He's 17 seconds back, and he's going to improve above Blaze into P7. Still got a lot of work to do, but he's going to be able to get round, get in, get out again, and set one final lap. He's completed his banker lap.
Yeah, he's definitely going to look to set a new set of tyres after spinning on his first set. They won't be the healthiest. And it looks like we have reports from production that Zydox currently can't take control of his car, so this is currently AI driving him around, so we're not expecting blazing hot times here. Should be firmly at the back of the pack. I really hope he can take control by the end of the race, because I really want to see what his lap time will be in this Q3 session, but at the moment it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's actually VL compensating. It's giving him a bit of a handicap. So just like in Saudi Arabia, he's had to fight VL and also his PC in order to get the 2 wins he's got so far. Never great news to see a driver struggling for out-of-game reasons, but all the best to him. I hope he gets back. He's certainly the type of driver who can get back in the race, even if he shouldn't really have to. Hodgson got into P7. Carlos, the only other driver without a time so far. I believe he invalidated his banker lap. He's in the pits now, so awaiting that final run-in. As Alex alluded to earlier, if you take a lap time of about 1:30, add on 30 seconds for 2 minutes, that's when most of our drivers will be leaving the pits for the final time, doing a final warm-up lap, and then just before the timer hits 0, absolutely pogging it down that home straight, putting it all on the line for pole position.
Yeah, it's obviously a lot of drivers sat in. A couple coming out for the early hot lap. They don't want to get mixed up in traffic. They don't want to risk any drivers getting in their way, so they just want to get the final hot lap out out of the way. Looks like Somtha, Miffy, and obviously the Zydox AI. We see Maka, Dormin, and Brandon all on their outlaps looking to improve the line. See Somtha coming up to turn 4 here on his hot lap. This is the very technical part of the track. If you touch the curb at the wrong angle here, you will be launched into oblivion. As we come into a heavy braking zone, and that completes the end of, this is the middle of sector 2, the hardest corner on the track. Downhill braking, nails that beautifully, hits the apex. It looks like he gets a good exit. He's interesting to see when he comes up to the end of sector 2 what his time improvement is. Coming up to brain surgery now, rides the curb as much as he dares, gets as close as he can here without touching, and it looks like he is 3.5 tenths up on his time, which keeping it will put him P3. Be interesting to see if he can finish that as he comes around the final corner here. Let's see how much he improves by the end of the lap as he comes across the finish line and moves up to P3.
Great
2
work.
tenths off P1. What a great lap from Somtha.
Yeah, I thought he'd hard-dooted that on the exit of brain surgery, turn 14, that right turn. I thought he'd gone over on the exit to go off the track a bit, but he's managed to make it work. Great work from Somtha. He's set a really solid time, definitely clear of his nearest rivals, Miffy and Maka. As we cross the 2-minute mark, we see a lot of flurry of activity. Sunny's left the pits, Maka's left the pits, Blaze has left the pits, Zydox is leaving now, and Miffy, the final remaining driver in the pits, is leaving his box as I speak. So all 10 drivers in full effect as we go towards the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's interesting to see as we see Maka, next person on the hot lap, coming through the middle of sector 2 now. A bit of a wobble coming out of that corner. It's not going to be what he wants for optimum lap time. It comes around hardest corner, opens up that DRS, long straight coming up to brain surgery now. Sit, prepare yourself for the rest of the corners. He has a wobble into the braking zone, mounts the curb as much as he dares, doesn't touch that outside curb, tries to keep it as close as he can to this corner here. Looks like he might have been over the line there, but we'll interesting to see whether that's still valid. He was about 0.2 seconds up as he comes into the final corner now. Let's see where Maka sticks his car. Comes up to the final DRS zone, opens it up, comes across the line, stays P5.
Yeah, a bit down there, we've got a flurry of cars ending their outlap at the moment, so Sunny leads that train. Blaze is in there as well, and just behind him, that's Dormin setting a hot lap. He's in P4 now, so 7 thousandths behind Somtha. He definitely did well in Q2, but I attributed that to the soft tyres. Dormin has certainly leveled up. He is definitely competing against these top drivers. Can we call him a top driver? Let's find out. Miffy and Carlos crossing the line. Carlos, again, not setting a time, which sucks for him. He's got another lap to do that. The timer is going to end now before the next driver crosses the line, so Somtha is going to have no further work here in Q3.
Yeah, as you see, flag comes out. Hodgson is currently 0.7 up on his lap time. It was a really good lap time as he comes across the line. Where's he going to put it? Hodgson moves up into P5, knocking his teammate or project mate Miffy down into P6.
Here comes
Mancho coming across the line here. Where's he going to go? Is he going to take pole? Mancho takes pole. What a lap, a 1:26.199.
Best time of the evening so far.
3.5 tenths quicker than Sunny. Interesting to see whether Sunny has a response for that. As you see, Maka has run out of fuel. He won't be improving on his lap time. Trundling ground.
Okay.
That's very unfortunate for
Blaze
him.
better give me the odds on Carlos pole with his first time lap of the session. Sunny is coming around the end of the track now. That's his final corner, all the way to the line. Floor it, mate. There he is. Mancho's dreams have gone to dust for pole. Sunny 1:26.0. Zydox still looking to have PC-based external issues. So Sunny, provisional pole at the moment. The rest of our drivers still finishing their final laps. Dormin not setting competitive one at the moment. This is his cool-down lap. Miffy is going to come down the final corner now. He is accelerating all the way. 2 tenths up. not quite enough to beat Hodgson. Carlos crosses the line. His first time of the session is enough to beat Blaze, puts him into P8, and without Zydox setting another time, I think that's wraps for Q3.
Yeah, I think that's wraps. That's his AI. He's not been able to take control, which really disappointing. Robs over as a last lap. Brilliant lap from Zydox, but what did I say about Sonny? You can't count him out.
Yeah, I said he was washed, and I'll take all of that back. He's just shown me how big his dumbbells really are, if you know what I mean. He's got pole. He's definitely one to watch in the race. I still would rank him below a fully PC fit Zydox. I don't know where to put him against Mancho, but from that timing stack, it's very close indeed. I love how close everything was at the top and in midfield. You love to see this sort of thing in qualifying and in the race. No one wants to see a one-sided blowout. But yeah, fantastic work by all our drivers. Everyone gets a time on the board. The Merc guys won't be too proud of that one, P8, P9. Blaze certainly had the power within him to go faster, as we saw from Q2. But they got to Q3, which is something that a lot of our drivers don't do. So great work from them all. We'll see them in the top half of our grid later on.
Yeah, and with that, it was really great qualifying. And I'm going to hand it back to the desk so you and Trav can analyze it. But yeah, that's all from me now. I will see you back at the race, and I'll hand it back to the desk.
Hello, we're back. We're back then.
Hello, I'm still here. Although I've moved what looks like 3 continents to get to this different location in real life.
Sprinted, mate. Sprinted like Mancho sprinted across the line in Q3.
Yeah, Mancho absolutely pogged it. Like I was gassed for him initially. He wasn't really living up to his hype in Q1, Q2. But then when he was within, like, he was setting really good times. Then when he got within a tenth of Sonny, when he got pole, I really wanted to believe. And even though it's not over yet, this is qualifying. We haven't even started lap 1 of the race. Mancho is in really good stead in terms of pace. Even if you can't see him matching up with Sonny or Zydox, to get third in that grid would be fantastic. But Mancho can't be thinking like that. He's got to think of everyone around him. He's got to be avoiding mistakes in lap 1. Turn 1 through 3 we talked about earlier. It's just an absolute minefield, regardless of how good your pace is. Sonny knows that from Austria. Everyone knows that from somewhere along the line in VLF1. It's going to be good.
Yeah, pace is one thing, but qualifying is only a slight portion of what's to come, really. It's if he can keep that pace consistent now, lap after lap, because that's the only thing that's going to ward away what's behind him in the image of Sonny, Somfer, and I believe, was it Dorman?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
But yeah, let's rewind the clock back to Q1. The 2 eliminations of Monty and Wilder. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Alex asked me the same question, and he said, "Any surprises? Are you that shocked by the 2 drivers that have gone?" For me, not too much. Monty, I've seen him put in strong performances in the past, but he hasn't really put it up in season 6 so far. Wilder, I think the sort of symptom of good pace normally, but then a few spins plagued him. We saw him pull out a yellow flag. We saw a lap where he came in 11 seconds slower. Who's to say what would have happened if it was a 25-minute session? But it isn't, and we didn't qualify. So not too shocked. Nice to see the battle towards the end of Q1. And yeah, great to see a track where everyone can compete on relatively close footing.
Then moving on to Q2 then. So what do you think of this strategy now coming up? So we've seen a lot of drivers adopt those soft tires. At the start, we saw all the teams had that initial idea that the mediums were the best way to go. It had the most consistent pace, and it led straight on nicely into whatever second half stint that they wanted to do. So now that they've taken off the soft tires, and we know they age pretty quickly, don't they? Yeah, what is general consensus? What's the thoughts going into this?
Yeah, well said. I think you've summed up the mood around the grid. Mediums are the faster tyre that you want to start on for race start. Let me clarify that. The mediums aren't the faster tyre when compared to the softs. But when you look at the overall race strategy, The game will tell you, and a lot of the maths around the number of laps in the race, the degradation of the tyres, will tell you that the best way to complete the race distance is with a one-stop strategy. Mediums hards or hards mediums, one way or the other. You can't really start hards because the way we've got quali set up, so our drivers will be going medium hard for ideal, which is why a lot of our drivers tried to get through Q2 on mediums. There is a way you can get through the race on soft tyres. Well, let me clarify that as well. There are two ways you can get through the race on soft tyres. One is a slightly slower strategy of doing soft, medium, medium. Softs for a low number of laps, it's only about 8 laps, but then you have to put 2 pit stops in, mediums for 10 and 11 laps. The other way you can do it is if we get a couple safety cars and we have a Travis special where you put on either soft hard or soft medium and just absolutely manage the tyre life so you can get through the race. I think with a lot of drivers switching to softs because of the Q2 change-ups, that's what we're going to be seeing. A lot of drivers had to sacrifice their medium strategy, get into that top 10. Looking again at the board, only Zydox and Mancho and Sunny, so 3 drivers out of 10 will be on the mediums. The rest of the drivers will be hoping for a safety car, will be extending tyre life, or will be going with a suboptimal strategy. Zydox is still the favourite for me, even though he's lost that sort of strategy battle. But yeah, it was great to see the quick shift in mentality as we got from like the start of Q2 to, let's say, 5-6 minutes left, and everyone realizing, wait a minute, we have an ideal strategy, we're going to have to break from it. And I think you got a real vibe of that as you went around the pit boxes.
Definitely did. But yeah, that brings us straight into Q3. That was a shocking surprise for me, at least, but it was a surprise in a bad way because the game has once again taken the toll on the grid, and Zydox was AI for, I think, the entirety of Q3.
Yeah, you hate to see it. He didn't set what I'd call a competitive lap time at all. His fastest time was 1:39, which was 13 seconds back. Now that you say that, I think that's what Wilder had at the start of Q1. But Zydox's PC has plagued him for this entire season. It's kicked him out of the game in the first 2 races. In last week's Saudi Arabian race, or rather the last race we did, it wasn't last week. Zydox had to really regroup after his PC took over for a lap, sent him way down the grid, knocked him back about 8 positions. I'd like to think that the game has messed him up early this time and got him in qualifying, not the race. I'm hoping that he can still pull off a really good race performance, but like you said, you hate to see it. You don't want to see a driver get pushed back for external reasons for PC. You want to see collisions, you want to see slips, you want to see chunks. You don't want to see lag.
Now that he's in the middle of the field, it puts you into that sort of mindset now where you've got to catch back up, and that feeling is not good for you when you're going into such a race where you put in so much effort behind the scenes, put in so much practice, and now you're like 9th, 10th from the grid. You're 8, 9 positions away from where you want to be, and it's just going to be a fiesta for your starting laps, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you put it best earlier. Zydox is on his own as well. His teammate Flyer couldn't make it to the race today. He's competing against the Soviet machine. Just kidding, they were Scandinavian, of Sunny and Gaben. They've got a really solid teamwork between them if you discount their reliance on medium tyres. They've got a really solid teamwork between them. Zydox suddenly has to go up against that. Zydox is in P10, so Gaben will be directly behind him. Zydox will be fighting a race win rival directly off the grid. And it's going to be really difficult for him to get up into the field where he's going to be fighting drivers like Sunny, like Somther, like Mancho, who are also going to be competing for the win. Then again, this is his anime redemption moment. If he can overcome these PC issues, it will just absolutely add to his legend and make him seem like a real god who needs to be nerfed IRL.
So long as he can keep it clean as well. You know, if he keeps that front wing on and he just pivots through the grid like water through cracks in the back wall, you know, he's going to be fine. But where do you think the injection now of Ferrari captain Glenn is going to put things?
I'm not going to lie, Travis. I'd completely forgotten about Glenn. I don't know if you did until you read that announcement. I was totally looking at Ferrari and thinking, oh, they must have just lost someone in Q1, even though I was literally watching Q1 earlier. So yeah, Glenn exists, guys. He's the Ferrari project captain. I've known about him for all of 30 seconds tonight. Where he will help, obviously he's a veteran, so he knows all about the keeping his head, keeping the strategy calls, keeping everyone on the right mental. Glenn and Franklin together are two of the most consistent scorers. They'll be able to salvage a good result, even if things don't go well for them early in the race. They'll be able to ride the strategy well. The obvious downside is that coming in just for the race puts you right at the back. Glenn is going to have to do a last points challenge. He's not really going to win unless some real bookie Nogga League stuff happens. But we're going to be seeing Glenn away from his teammates at the back of the field, trying to coordinate and motivate his team while also trying to get around lap 1, turn 1. He's just got to put his head down, stay away from his captaincy duties a bit, let Franklin take their own races for a bit and just go for it. Envy is, I want to say, he was one of the guys eliminated in Q2, wasn't he? He was 13th, if I'm right. So he'll be quite close to Glenn on the starting grid. There'll be a nice little bit of teamwork they can do if they can get past Impress and Whopper.
Ferrari's one of those lucky few teams that also have the Jeff in the year, don't they, in the form of Cauchy. So Glenn can sort of leave things to him, I think. Just focus on his own race for a little bit.
Yeah, just a nice little reminder as well of how much I miss Law, and I'm sure you do in the Red Bull team.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, don't engage with Law's Discord bot. I think it's been deleted, but it's sending out scams to everyone. This has been your PSA. So yeah, well, looking ahead at the grid, obviously we've got our top 10. How are you feeling about your boys? So you said Mancho was the secret weapon. He's just come out with P2 on the grid. Dormin has absolutely smurfed on Q3 as well. He's in P4. You've got Miffy in P6 as well. So you've got a lot of you guys fighting up there. And last but certainly not least is Season 6 race winner Hodgson, who's looking for his first win of 2023. You've got 4 Red Bull boys in the top 6. This must be like dreamland for you.
Yeah, Hodge a bit stinky now because he's not really won a race in 2023, has he?
Yeah,
so
fresh player, if I'm honest.
Yeah, bit of a stinky driver to be honest. But for the rest of them, fantastic. They've got Sumpher in the Red Bull sandwich, which is probably a very scary pace for Mercedes second seat driver.
Oh my god, Sonny Mancho Sumpher, like that's. I'm not going to say danger bot, but it's that way. It's going to be a really exciting front of the race. I want to see if Sonny improves if there's a safety car, because he got absolutely pulled through the tar by the stewards in the previous race for just sort of. I don't know if it was backing up the pack or like playing poker a bit too much with the restart. I don't know if you can remember which one it was.
It was for leaving too large of a gap under the safety car queue. So he left a very large gap between him and the safety car. But yeah, Sumpher must be quaking in his tire blankets, honestly.
Yeah, these we can talk about Sumpher all we like, but to get a bigger picture, Trav, why don't you say this one? Bodson.
So yeah, let's shall we do the grid?
Let's do the grid.
Let's do the grid.
Tell you what, do you want to take alternate rows? You take first.
So starting in pole, we have the Aston Martin legend Sonny.
And I'll take the one on the right then. We'll go for Mancho, absolutely performing in Red Bull. Real Smurf hours at the moment in P2.
Starting in rows, by the way. Straight to columns. Sumpher in third. I've talked a lot about him. He's currently sandwiched by the Red Bulls.
And Dormin appropriately in blue. Not the colour of AlphaTauri. He's a Smurf. He's in P4 as well.
Then we got Bodson, stinky driver.
Yeah.
Fifth.
Not won a race in 2023, by the way. Absolutely despicable. Miffy completing the Red Bull Smurf lineup in P6.
McLaren Dark Horse, Barker in the 7th.
And who put Carlos in 8th? Bit of a nosebleed. He's the highest performing Merc driver. Well done, Carlos.
Mercedes team captain, star legend, prodigy, Blaze home wrecker in 9th.
Yeah, boy. And Zydox in P10 thanks to his PC getting bribes from everyone else in the VLF1 grid.
Salty Gaben, very unlucky in Q2, getting knocked out, starting in 11th.
And we've got our boy Franklin in senior Ferrari colours. He'll be between his teammate and the Swedish powerhouse. Got a good start on his hands.
Junior Ferrari driver Envy in the 13th.
And then on the other side of that row, Miffy's biggest tip for Dangerbot this race, it's Impress.
The speederini pit lane of Shadow Bopper in 15th.
And on his opposite side, we've got Wilder, who got knocked out of Q1. He's managed to find 11 seconds of improvement. If he finds another 11, we're all screwed.
Last but not least, the Alpine Megamind, Monty in the 17th. What tricks has he got in store for us today? I wonder.
And on his other side, he didn't classify, but we're going to have Stinky Glenn at the back in P18.
You know what? I forgot about him again.
Same. Like, I was going to joke and say on the other side it's empty, and then I realised, wait, no, Glenn's there.
Wait,
Glenn's
we have
gonna-
a Ferrari there.
Glenn's going to crash turn 1. Like, he's just not. He's just going to be forgettable this entire race. Calling it now.
Stinkiest of stinkers, really.
Big nose, Glenn.
Yeah. So while we wait for everyone to do their strategies and do their final talks, how do we think turn 1's going to play out?
I mean, turn 1 it's fun on every track. So turn 1 is where a lot of the collisions happen. It's where you have all 20 drivers, or 18 in this case, going into a small space. You pointed out earlier that it's a difficult turn 1 because of the fact that it's a high-speed acceleration into a very tight turn. It's more than 90 degrees. Drivers will normally negotiate it in second gear, so people will be going through what's normally a speed trap zone into a very tight braking zone. So anyone who misjudges that braking zone will be risking ploughing their car into the driver in front, which is going to cause absolute bedlam on lap 1, turn 1. So yeah, you also have the section after that, turn 2 and turn 3. When you have cold tyres at the start, when you have to get that racing line correct, you might have to make a few sacrifices. Hopefully, that's sacrificing your racing line and moving a bit to one side, not literally sacrificing another car by yeeting into it at maximum speed, like I think Tent did to you in Season 2, #Throwback Sunday. But we've got a big possibility for danger in those sections. It's just going to be chaos if anything happens there. It's like Monza, turn 1, turn 2. Really high braking zone, low speed, and anyone is going to be fighting for the apex. I don't know if we're going to be seeing quite Verstappen-Hamilton levels of I'm going to park my car on top of yours, but anything at the front, anywhere that your Red Bull project cause a bit of chaos with Sunny and Somtha, that's going to have massive ripple waves to the back of the grid. It's going to be glorious.
It'll be fun to see just who does what now, because remember, these guys are coming off a pretty large break from the last race. So everyone's sort of got that dust. I know they've just done qualifying, but it's not the same. They haven't raced each other in what feels like a year, doesn't it? They haven't raced since 2022, have they?
Yeah,
So-
and Hodge not winning in all that time really puts a giant black mark on his record. It's not good. Like a lot of drivers will I'll give you Blazer's secrets. To get into the zone, he often does time trial. Time trial is a great way to practice your technique. It gives you easy sort of reattempting of corners. The problem now is then you don't get to race competitively. You don't get to race against other drivers. And that's where we're going to see a few drivers fall by the wayside here. They're just going to be used to recovering or like shrugging off damage. That's not going to happen in a race setting. You're going to have drivers on either side. You're going to have people who want that space as much as you and are willing to fight for the stewards in order to get it there. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see how drivers go from their long hiatus into the direct heat of the flames of not just the desert, but the competition with them.
Right, if you don't mind, I'm going to quickly run away off to the pit wall, see what I can find, and I'll leave you with Alex again.
I bet. Oh, hey, look, it's Alex.
Hey, look, it's Karen. It's almost as if you were just in a different room.
Bro, this teleporting power would be great on an F1 track.
Oh, so looking forward to the race. It should be an exciting one. We've got quite a mixed up grid, if we're being honest, and should be quite spectacular when it comes down to it. As we see the drivers getting ready for the grid. Anything we're looking forward to?
Yeah, so coming from the top side of the grid, I'm really looking forward to how Mancho and Dorman will do. Like they for me are the two drivers that have shaken up the established order most on this track. Mancho has really put down the power that we were sort of maybe expecting from him in finishing P2. Dorman getting P4 is fantastic, and to be ahead of most of Red Bull, all of them in the case of Sonny, is just great to see. I also think to see Carlos and Blaze try and hold up Zydox and Gaben is just going to be comedy clown hour at the start of the race. Like, that's probably the biggest flashpoint for turn one I think we could see, where both Merc drivers maybe don't have as good of a start as Zydox or Gaben, and then it becomes a bit of a flashpoint. What are those tyres, Impress? What are those? You put the hards on.
That's interesting. I think in the race I started on hards as well, so it's interesting. He's going to be slow off the start line. He might fall a few positions, but if he can keep within the pack, I think it'll do him well. But interesting to see he's taken the strategy of fuck what everyone else is doing. I'm going to do my own thing, and hopefully it works. You know, if you know you're not going to win on pace, you're not going to win by doing the same thing everyone else is doing. So why not do something different?
Yeah, I just have to be advised that you did say the F word there, so if you can fuck that bad language off, that would be fantastic. We're going to have to look forward to an interesting mix of tyre strategies. Hards are a viable strategy, but I think in a VLF1 race, it's going to be very difficult to bank on the hards lasting their entire stint. It's something like 19 laps if you pull them correctly. 19 of the 29 laps is great, leave space for the mediums, leave space for the softs if there's a safety car. It's just really risky to go for the hards straight away rather than having them as insurance in case something happens. On the flip side, if you're battling in a pack, hard tyres are the best option. They allow you to stay with the pack, DRS catch up to them. You don't lose what I'll say is the fast part of your race in the middle of traffic. So Impress has either played a blinder or a very clown move. We will find out which it is, as our drivers come towards the end of the formation lap and get ready to start. I'll let you take this one.
Oh, thanks. As we see drivers coming up to the grid, nicely warmed up tyres. Hopefully, if they've done the formation correctly. If not, they're going to slide backwards, maybe into a wall. But we'll have to see as the end of the pack forms up, and we wait to see those magical red lights.
Oh man, it's going to be fantastic. I really want to see if the Merc Zydox Gaben section produces any magic here.
You see 4 red lights, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. We see Mancho getting a great start, taking Sonny off the start. Sonny falling back down what looks like into P3, fighting with something coming into turn 1. There's a bit of contact as we see one of the Mercedes run a bit wide. We've had changes up and down the grid, no major incidents by the looks of it, just a bit of elbows out. But the main thing to note is Mancho taking P1 off that start. Can he keep it as Sonny's looking quite close behind him, coming into the technical section as we have a yellow flag in Sector 1 while Wilder's lost it on turn 4, and we have a virtual safety car. This neutralizes the race, no overtaking, and drivers have to keep to a delta.
Yeah,
Wow.
Chilala moment. We asked yesterday in the predictions, is there going to be a safety car or a VSC? I said no, I am wrong as hell. We have a VSC lap 1. So Mancho taking the lead is fantastic. Often on these sorts of starts, being P2 is great, allows you to get a bit of a jump on the guy in P1. Dorman advancing to P3 is fantastic news as well. Looking elsewhere, Carlos has dropped down a few positions. Franklin has dropped down a few positions, but Williams and Ferrari are now back together. Wilder obviously sucks to have that spin. He should need to pit now. I did think there would have been some wing damage off of that. It will be interesting to see who else pits, who else has to take a bit of a drop back. Zydox managed to advance one position into P9. Blaze had a rocket start. And basically everything's sort of together. We didn't have anyone going 4 wide round a corner. It was fairly civilized for the LF1. We're probably going to be seeing a green flag soon as the race leader Mancho crosses over the finish line into lap 2.
Green flag, we are back on the way. Interesting to note that Zydox taking Miffy around the outside there. Can he hold it? Miffy trying to force him out wide. Is he going to work? Wilder in the pits to repair that broken wing. As we see, Monty has lost it on turn 1.
Oh, Shadow Hopper as well.
Shadows.
Alpine curse.
Yeah, he's stuck it in the Grosjean wall. Interesting to see if there's any damage. I couldn't quite see for either of them.
Yeah. Envy looks a bit further back from the pack as well.
Yeah. Interesting to know what happened there. We see Franklin and Carlos glitching into each other, a bit of ghosting going on. Interesting to note, Infra's gained 4 positions on that first lap, so those hard tyres really looking good for him right now.
Yeah, looking increasingly like a Smurf move. Normally the hard tyres will just keep you floating along in traffic. If they can gain him positions and then he comes out with soft tyres later, great. But yeah, you really have to bank on no big action, no wing damage, no safety cars. Yellow flag again. It looks like Blaze has gone. This is brain surgery. He did not pass medical school, and he's backwards on the track. He had to quickly get out of the way of the passing car, which I think was Glenn, quite poetically. Blaze is one of now, I believe, 5 drivers who's had some sort of incident that's knocked them out of the way of the pack. So a lot of drivers controlling their own destinies, but not in a good way so far at the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. 2 laps down. We're starting to see the DRS come in at the start of lap 3. So, as Alex pointed out in the track briefing earlier, 3 DRS straights after turn 3, turn 10, and turn 14, 1 in each sector. We're going to start to see the 1 second or fewer deltas mattering. Sonny going close to Mancho here, looking around the outside of turn 4. Mancho holding the inside, Sonny looking for the switchback, both on medium tyres, as Somtha wants a little bit of a looky here as well. Are we going to be seeing a chunk to the left or a step to the right? Mancho still holding the line fairly well, and it's just leading the pack out fairly methodically. And yeah, it's really good. I hope to see this pack stay together, especially as we go through the DRS sections.
Yeah, Mancho really wants Somtha to start attacking Sonny here, to buy himself some breathing room. If he gets, as we see, Monty's lost it at Chonk Corner, I believe that is, and Envy's also lost it. It's Spinala time at the Sakhir Grand Prix, and no one seems to be able to keep it on track for more than a lap. It's interesting. No damage from what we can see as of yet. You see Mancho starting to pull out a gap. Something is doing exactly what he wants. Starts trying to battle with Sonny, slow Sonny down. If Mancho can break that DRS, he's going to be in a very good place. As we see our DRS train starting to form all the way down to P7. As we see Zydox set the fastest lap.
Love that charge. Zydox in P7. He's closing on Maka. Has equal position going into the corner of turn 1. And makes a nice move, leaves Maka space, but controls the apex going around turn 2. That's another position gain for Zydox, who started P10, mainly due to PC issues in Q3. He's advanced 4 positions, and with no outside distractions, most people would have seen him as the favourite for this race. His march goes on.
We see, obviously, Sonny gaining that time. He lost through the corners, back up in those DRS straights. He's keeping Mancho a lot more on this now. Interesting to note that Mancho and Sonny and Zydox were the only ones who made it through to Q3 starting in the top 10. As for me, it looks like my stream has stopped. I don't know about yours, Cradden. Have you got a feed?
Yeah, I've got a feed at the moment, as fascinating as it is, so we'll see if we can get the duel on soon. I can see Mancho just still leading out the top field. There's a distinct gap now between Maka in P7, Miffy in P8, so that train is starting to break free. Maka is doing his damnedest to stay within time. We have a yellow flag as well, because Carlos has made the same mistake as his project captain Blaze on the same corner of brain surgery, this time on a different side. He's gone off of the inside. So a lot of bad news for the guys at the back. It seems to be the same 5 or 6 drivers having a few incidents. I don't know if there was contact there between Sunny and Mancho at the front, but Mancho still leading everyone out, getting out of the DRS on the home straight and then braking for turn 1 is going to be so chaotic every lap. Sunny looking for the inside, but Somtha certainly making this a fun time. Somtha Flyer Hodgson vibes from Austria. Sunny takes the race lead, getting the inside at turn 4 from Mancho. Although Mancho is still very much in this. They're all on the same tyre compound, so it comes down to sort of playing the ERS off against each other. Obviously, corner execution, the biggest part. And Dormin's joined the battle. Zydox has now moved into P5 ahead of Hodgson. So another position advance for Zydox. He is within 2 seconds of the race lead, despite all of his misfortune in Q3.
As we see Shadow picking up a 3-second time penalty there. I'm glad to be back. I had a couple bits of technical information. I missed that overtake for the lead. As we see Sonny's almost broke the DRS from Mancho now. Looks like he managed his tyres a lot better, or Mancho is in preservation mode at the moment. Interesting to see how that plays out later into the race. Sonny really looking to break that DRS and start pulling away from this pack. As you say, Zydox really cutting his way through this field right now. Interesting to see if he can make any more moves. As we see Envy making, Monty making a move up the inside of Envy there, making it stick, coming through brain surgery, nicely ahead now. Monty looking to recover those positions he lost in the early laps.
Oh, we've got Bodge in the box. Let's see what he's going for here. He was on, I believe he was on the soft tyre. I'm not sure what he was on initially, but he's now looking like the yellow mediums are equipped to his Red Bull. I'm also not sure about whether there was a wing change there, but he did seem to be consistently in the pack, fighting closely with Zydox.
I'm just going to send this over to our Ted Kravitz now, who's got info on the tyres for the top 3. Take it away, Travis.
Hello again, gentlemen. So Somfer is really toasting those tyres. I've seen his rear tyres peak 100 degrees quite a few times. So he's really burning that rubber, trying to keep up with those front 2. We saw Sonny take off immediately after he overtook Mancho. That's because his battery is in a lot better condition. He's got nearly double the battery capacity than Mancho and Somfer. So that's why he's flown away from these 2. But Mancho is slowly building it back up, thanks to Somfer giving him a bit of a pull and tug as they swap positions ahead now. So let's see how this plays out. I can see Somfer dropping back due to the tyre wear. I hope Mancho is able to catch back up, but we'll see.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we have Blaze has spun it up, brain surgery again. It's really not looking like it's been his race today, as we see Zydox and Somtha fighting for the final podium positions. Positions changing around, but it looks like Zydox taking it. As we see Miffy's pitted. It looks like interesting calls from Red Bull there, as we see Brandon also pitting. Sonny has pulled out of that DRS zone, got himself a nice 1.4 second lead. He's going to be quite comfortable, going to look to manage his battery and tyres now for the rest of the race until it comes to the pit-in time. It looks like Zydox looking to make a charge on Mancho here. Really hunting down the pack from obviously not being able to do his final Q3 time, having to come all the way up from 10th. So he's made a lot of positions in this race, and it looks like he's not going to stop now. 3/10 off P2. Interesting to see how this plays out.
Be scared of it, run from it. Sunny versus Zydox arrives all the same. Mancho is really holding his own though. He's on his favourite track. He's pulling out fantastic times. He is trying to get within DRS of Sunny, but he's now fending off Zydox. Between the 2 of them, I think the DRS train can get them up to catch up to that first place guy. Sunny does have the battery advantage, as you say, but 2 drivers together DRSing is very formidable. Got a couple drivers in the box now. Maka's in there, and the driver ahead of him, Somfit, is also in there. I believe they started on softs as well, so we'll be seeing a flurry of drivers shed their initial soft tyres, go onto a medium tyre or something, or a hard tyre, and go for maybe a 2-stop strategy. We might even see the shaking my head strat, soft, medium, hard in that order, and it might give an edge in the later part of the race. Again, hard to the finish is very difficult because you're planning on zero traffic or safety cars. We've got a nice strategy battle. At the same time, we've got a real pace battle on stream as Zydox now closes to P2 and within a second of our race leader, Sunny.
Zydox isn't letting up. He's already closed within that DRS zone of Sunny. According to our reporter at the pit wall, he's got similar battery to Sunny, so he can really start attacking. Same tyres, same tyre life. This is really about a battle of pace, and we're going to have to see who comes out on top as we see them coming around brain surgery now. This is all about exit of this corner, who gets a good exit, and the pace down this straight. As we see the battle coming up, no DRS on this straight. It's only on the final straight. It feels a bit weird to not open your DRS up down there, but you're not allowed it, as we see drivers coming down. DRS open for Zydox. Is he going to look for a move this lap? As we see Zydox setting the fastest lap while behind Sunny. Creeps out, puts his car to the side. Is he going to send it down the inside? He looks like he is. He's going to make the move stick. He does. Great move by Zydox for P1. Now he's just going to look to try and pull out that lead, but Sunny's going to have the DRS reply now. Is Sunny going to make a move going into turn 4? No, he's going to think better of it. Try and follow Zydox round for a few corners now.
Zydox is just like peak driving right now. I don't want to say he's too good for the league, but right now he is. Like he's just taken the fight from P10 all the way up the top of the field and accelerated ahead of Sunny and Mancho. Gaben's off.
Gaben's off. Any damage? It's definitely chunk corner. Is it chunk wall? Looks like there's no damage from him. No damage to his front wing. Doesn't mean he's not picked up underside damage. You see Impress picking up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, Gaben not great there. He was obviously knocked out of Q2. Unfortunate tyre strategy planning for him. To go off on that corner sucks as well. He wasn't in that leading pack. He was sort of trading with Miffy earlier on. So to be off of the leaders really sucks for him. I know he has that better pace in him. We're already seeing a lot of the drivers just go onto that soft, medium, 2-stop strategy. A couple of our drivers having to switch early. So I believe we had Blaze switching early due to damage. We had Maka and Miffy pull a very early switch onto that first set of mediums. Sunny going very close to Zydox here, looking for that overtake. Almost too wide here around that opening section. Zydox is just about to go to the apex, and there's contact. Zydox is off to the side a bit. Oh, I think he's dooted Mancho on the way back. Zydox has just been contacted out of that lead fight.
I'd love to see a replay of that, because I wasn't too sure as what went on there, but they were definitely getting close to each other, as we see Wilder picking up a 3-second time penalty. Now Zydox has a lot of ground to make up again after that contact. Really, he's got to make sure that doesn't get to his head. You can't let it frustrate you. You just got to focus on the job ahead. Just before that happened, Dormin pitted on the soft tyres. So he's made his first stop. We see Shadow losing it at chunk corner as well, and it looks like he has picked up front wing damage. He's lost the end plate. So we see him spinning his tyres, trying to get back up to speed. He's going to look to pit. That's not his race, unfortunately. He's going to struggle to recover points without a safety car. That's eventful few laps.
Yeah, you love to see it. We've got a lot of drivers just having a few issues at corners. It seems to be the same set of 5-6 drivers, and then Gaben with a very uncharacteristic error. Impress is currently leading Hodge, Dormin and Maka round Sector 3. It looks like Impress has still got those hards on, so he's doing well with the tyre strategy at the moment. Hard tyres are probably about an 18-19 lap life, so Impress is getting towards the slowest part of the race for himself. the degraded hard tyres. You love to see it, and his job is just going to be to hold up everyone he can. Problem is, it's a DRS home straight, so Hodge has just got past him. Dormin is looking to make the move next. Impress's race is going very much to plan if you discount the 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, it's interesting. Zydox has pitted this lap. I'm assuming that's because he picked up damage from the incident. So he's going on to the hard tyres. Probably going to look either try and force those hards to the end, maybe wait for a safety car and slap on a set of softs. I think that's probably what he's going to look to do as Shadow pits after that wind damage, goes to the soft tyre. Interesting that he's forcing himself onto that. I'm assuming he didn't have another set of hards to slap on, so interesting to see what his strategy is going to be into this race, as Impress really starting to build up this train now of cars waiting to pass him, but the wall of Thailand not letting anyone pass right now. I say that, Dorman just makes it past him and Maka, so as I say that, cast the curse in the space of 2 corners, both drivers get past him.
Yeah, the Siege of Thailand, very valiant but very short-lived there. Although he did make it last about 2 laps, I think he held 3 drivers behind him for the best part of 2 laps. Going back to Zydox's pit, it sucks for him to have been knocked out of the race lead with a couple of doots. The timing, however, is great for switching onto that hard tyre. It still keeps his race strategy available. It gives him the opportunity to finish the race with that compound. I've seen a driver go way off track, and I think that was Monty at Britain Surgery. Yeah. But we also have news of 3-second time penalty on Sunny. We saw the race decided in Saudi Arabia by penalties. I believe that was the case for Styria as well. It's frequent that takes place. And if we see a late safety car, we sort of bunch the pack up together and those penalties become even more important. So right now, Mancho is second, but he leads the race on net time. Sunny has a 3-second time penalty, which knocks him behind Mancho. So Mancho's got to be hoping for some more indiscipline from Sunny.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. We see Wilder brain surgery, sticking it straight in the wall there. I believe he's picked, yes, he has confirmation from Wild Productions, picked up wing damage, as Monty's lost it off the exit of turn 3. Don't believe he's got any damage from what I could see going past there. No, it looks like his front wing's fully intact, so he's going to be lucky as he runs it a bit wide there. Mancho taking... that was it. Sunny has pitted from the lead, looking to get a fresh set of boots on, going onto those hard compound tires.
Oh, yes. You love to see it.
Mancho's probably going to look to pit this lap as Wilder follows suit onto those hard tyres. He's looking for a safety car to hopefully spare his bushes for the rest of this race, but gonna see how this plays out, see if Mancho pits this lap and whether the undercut has worked for Sunny or not.
Yeah, Mancho, Sunny and Zydox were the big 3 from qualifying 2. They finished top 10, and they were the only 3 to do so on medium tyres. So they're the 3 that started on medium tyres. Zydox obviously had to switch to hards. Sunny has done so now. Really, if Mancho is switching onto hards, he should be doing it this lap. I think he's good enough, Fofi, with strategy to do that. He obviously still has the option to pull a medium double soft, but again, I think that's an early call. So I'm expecting Mancho top in the box. We'll see what happens live on track. Sunny in P4, so does have to make his way further up the grid. We've got Hodge, Dormin, Maka, Impress holding down the midfield. I would say everyone in the top 12 is someone who hasn't had regular spins or regular yellow flags going off the track. Those bottom 6 drivers have just been really bad with, let's say, indiscipline and traction today. I've had a lot of incidents where they've just spun off or had wing damage or had to take an extra pit stop. Definitely the case for Wilder, who's trailing hard at the moment, but sometimes it just isn't your day. It doesn't look to be theirs at the moment. Glenn has advanced from P18, dead last, up to P12. It's the hallmark of Franklin and Glenn for me in that Ferrari team, of being able to salvage points from seemingly irredeemable situations. Franklin is in points already. Glenn is currently making his strategy happen. We see Zydox approaching Franklin. Zydox on those fresh hard tyres. He's going to be running these to the end of the race. He's got the DRS on Franklin. As Franklin, I would probably just let this overtake happen and then try and DRS off of Zydox, who's obviously a very quick driver. That'll help Franklin. It'll reduce the amount of traffic. But Franklin may have other plans. He's got a really nice cut into the apex of turn 1. And Zydox makes that move happen. He's in P9, recovering from his earlier doot at the front. Sonny now advances into P3. He's 1.5 seconds behind Somther. Mancho it's going to be the kicker. He did another lap without pitting. He's now on lap 14, almost halfway through the race now. He's about 3 turns from the end. Alex, I think he needs to pit. I think he needs to switch to one of the 2 remaining tyres.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he can't stretch this out to a medium soft. Maybe he's hoping for a safety car, but he needs to pit within probably this lap. Interesting to note, while you were talking about that, Gaben did pit, comes out behind Zydox. You see Mancho pitting from the lead. Interesting to see whether he built up enough of the gap or whether he's going to come out behind Sonny. We'll have to see as he pits onto the hard compound tires. Was it the softs? Yes. Production confirming he's swapped onto the soft tires, so he might be looking to go soft here at the end. So something comes out. Sonny comes out and comes out behind Sonny, but on much fresher, much softer tires. So he's going to look to dispatch these quite quickly and start really making up time here. So interesting strategy call from Mancho. We'll have to see if it pays out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mancho's made a suboptimal call there, but we'll return to that analysis shortly. Hodgson is in P5. He has Dorman ahead of him. Both are what looks to me like on medium tyres. They're going around the start of Sector 2 right now, looking to avoid a chunk, but also looking to regain some ground. Maka is in P6, not quite in DRS range, but behind them. So for me, Hodgson probably is looking to make a move after turn 10, the hairpin to the left. Dorman does not want that to happen, so it's important to get the line right around here. Hodge cutting it close to the apex, but I think Dorman took that corner slightly better. DRS is certainly going to assuage Hodgson's doubts. And yeah, just a really nice following pattern there. Mancho, on the other hand, he's within 0.3, 0.4 of the driver in front, Sonny. They're going around brain surgery at the moment. Somther still leading the race, just like he's leading the World Drivers' Championship. You'd love to see it. Mancho has got a massive run on Sonny after this next corner. No DRS on this straight, remember. He's got the home straight to do it in. Turning right round the double corner here. I think Sonny got the better traction. Mancho really could have done better, but the soft tyres are starting to tell. The DRS is starting to tell. Sonny is repositioning to the side, but Mancho has managed to tuck into the right even further. We have a safety car, and I'm not sure what that was caused by. We'll get back to you if we know it. We see Wilder off the track on brain surgery, but I'm not convinced that's safety car material. I think it will be debris on the track. But either way, that puts a giant spanner in the works of the guys on the hard tyres. They do still finish the race on these tyres, but it starts to make you think, can hard soft work? Can Impress hit and make a really good call?
As you say, it's interesting for those drivers that are on the hard tyres, what their choice is going to be. As we see a spattering of drivers from the midfield pitting onto new medium tyres, looking to take these mediums to the end. Going to be interested to see if anyone else makes that call. Might be interesting to see if Sonny does it, tries to get rid of these hard compound tyres, knowing that Mancho also has to pit going into the future, but he doesn't want to pit now. Interesting to see if any of those leaders choose to pit, as we see them coming round into Sector 3 now. There's not that much time left to make up your mind, so they might have decided by now. Fortunately for Mancho, he made the move stick just before the safety car came out, which means he gets to keep that position. So Sonny's going to be fuming inside that car that move went through. As we see them coming around the final corner now. Are any of them going to pit? As we see Somther pits from the lead, followed by Mancho and Sonny. All three of them are pitting.
Yeah, for me, Alex, this is like peak switch onto mediums moment. Mancho entered it by going onto softs just before a safety car with 13 laps to go. Sonny entered it by going onto hards just before a safety car with 13 laps to go. Softs won't really last you the remaining race distance, so it's really mediums or nothing from here on out. If any driver has done mediums only to this point, I don't think one exists, then that would be a really tough call right now. But I pretty much everyone, almost the entire field, is going on to fresh mediums for this 13-lap run-in.
Yeah, it looks like every single person has pitted, all on fresh tyres. Impress has currently overtaken Miffy and Zydox in the pit, so he's going to be happy about that, trying to start bringing out that tie defense again. We see the only drivers currently on a different set of tyres are Shadow, Monty and Wilder on the hard, soft respectively. They're going to try and look to recover from the position, but in my opinion they are on the wrong tyre, all three of them. So as we say, that Shadow Hopper comes in the pits, looking to change over, I would assume, to the medium compound tyre, get that over and done with. He does change over to the medium compound tyre. I don't know whether Monty and Wilder are going to do that. We'll have to see. Monty's staying out, and Wilder is currently in Sector 1, so I don't think he's got time to at the moment. So interesting to see if Wilder can make the soft last to the end. I'm not too sure it's possible, but he's really got nothing else to lose at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see something leading out the safety car restart. He is in a really good position to win this race right now, and it looks like in the pits, Sonny has dropped 2 places in what's going on. That combined with the 3-second time penalty means he's not in a very good space right now. Zydox very thankful for this safety car, equalises the field, he can start cutting through again. He's definitely got the pace to beat the other drivers on track. We've seen that before, so it's all about a recovery drive from him. How many points can he get? Maybe a podium, maybe even a win. We'll have to see. We see safety car leading around for another lap. Not much else to say now. All the drivers are pretty much on the same strategy. At this point, it's all on pure pace now. But yeah, we'll have to see what goes on. As we see the drivers come around turn 1. I'm guessing the safety car is going to be in this lap. I can't imagine it staying out much longer. It was for debris on the track, which is usually shorter. The pack's all bunched up now. So apart from Monty and Shadow, they're the 2 Alpines sort of trying to catch up, but they'll be caught up by the end, and then I believe the safety car will be in this lap. So, interesting to see. I'm going to throw you a curveball question. Who's winning the race?
Ooh. I'll say... Oh, I was going to say Mancho then, but Sonny is really close. But Sonny has a penalty. But Somtha's ahead. But Dormin's behind. I am going Mancho right now. I think Zydox is the second most likely to win the race, but with 11 laps to go, I think it'll be really tricky to make the similar moves that he did at the start of the race, especially not now when there's so many of the top drivers ahead of him. My heart is with Mancho right now. I don't know why. I'm saying Mancho. What about you?
My money is on the wild card of Zydox. I think he's got the pace to make the moves happen. I think if he can dispatch Impress by the end of or getting round turn 1, he's in a really good space. But if he starts getting caught behind these sorts of drivers, he won't really be able to make moves. As we see, safety car is in this lap. We see drivers warming up their tyres, getting them ready for the restart. Somtha backing up the pack. He has effectively become the safety car up until the safety car line. He chooses when the restart happens, starts slowing them down, let the safety car get into the pits. As he comes around the final corner, and when is he going to choose to go? It looks like he's gone now.
Yeah, nice
move by Somtha. Mancho stayed with him. Dormans fell off quite a bit. As we see,
who fell off?
As we see drivers piling into turn 1. Any move's going to be made. As we see Impress and Maka. And there's been a massive collision.
There's been a Hodge
and Maka. Gaben picking up a 3-second time penalty in that as well. And it was all going well up until it wasn't.
Hodge is fuming right now. I didn't see who hit him. Like, I'm not sure who hit Hodge in the side, but that's going to be one for the stewards later on. Great news for Zydox, who's already in P4 and hunting down the rest of the pack. Dormin, Mancho, and Somtha ahead of him in that order from Zydox's perspective. Somtha, the race leader, with 10 laps to go. He has not won a race in VLF1, not just this season, not just this calendar year, period, full stop, end of. He's got 10 laps to either do that or lose the race. So no pressure, mate. You got this. Earlier on in the season, I said that my heart was with Hodgson. Somtha, it's now with you, although I kind of wouldn't be too mad about a Mancho win either. Dorman's looking good as well. Before I split my heart too many ways, the pack are obviously bunched together, which makes penalties count for a lot more. Sonny and Gaben, the Scandinavian powerhouse, with 3 seconds each, which really sucks for them, and not least that they're in midfield, so maybe Aston Martin are mortal after all. Impress has made his strategy before the safety car count really well. The early hard now looking like a masterstroke as he's in P5, albeit with a 3-second pen. Somtha still leading out the boys as we start lap 20. 10 laps to go, 9 at the line. Dormin is slotting behind Mancho. I still think we're 1 lap from DRS, correct me if I'm wrong. And Sonny's gone for a move on Franklin here.
Yeah, interesting. Somtha has broken that DRS zone as it's changing around a bit, but there is a massive queue forming behind Mancho. Zydox very close to Dormin, looking like he really wants to make this move stick. It's an awkward part of the track to try and make a move as he drops back a bit, maybe waiting for that DRS, but as you say, there aren't that many laps left. You've really got to make every lap count now. As we see drivers filtering through that downhill hairpin, very difficult corner. You see Brandon overtaking Hodgson for P12. Hodgson really not having the best of luck at Bahrain in this race or previous races, so he's not particularly happy right now.
Yeah, I really want to see how Hodgson and Brandon do, because there's a bit of bad blood between them, not least because of the safety car stuff. But yeah, that's not the position we want to be watching right now. Zydox making a move on Norman. We've got a yellow flag in brain surgery, and that's going to be a safety car. It's the second full safety car of the race with 8 laps to go. Are we going to see late soft pits? I think we might just. It's going to be really split. Gaben is in. Gaben is the first one to have gone into the box. Blaze has followed them. We've got 5 seconds for Gaben. This is absolute chaos. Almost the entire back half of the grid has gone into the box with 8 laps to go. 2 or 3 of them under safety car. And softs are clearly the tyre to go for now. Softs will enable you to finish the race. The danger is now track position, because the back half of the grid have just sacrificed their track position. The front half of the grid, now if they go into the box, the rest of the grid won't have to adhere to a delta. So the front half have got to stay with their strategy. It's like Abu Dhabi 2021 all over again, only instead of 1-on-1, it's like 8-on-8, but some of them spin a lot. There's a really bad analogy in there. But for now, Gaben has made the first move of the back half of the grid. He's gone onto the fresh softs, and Blaze is just behind him. I'm not for 1 second saying that Blaze is nailed on for P2 here, but they've made a really nice move with the final 8 laps to go. We saw from qualifying that softs are 1 second quicker than mediums in a full speed, full track evolution, no traffic setting. So that is going to throw a real spanner in the works. Wilder completes his story for the day and retires while in the box. He will finish at the back. He will count as a retirement. Unfortunate for him. He'll come back in future races, but we're here to watch the remaining 17 fight for points and a victory. A victory that is 8 laps away from our race leader in light blue, Somtha for Mercedes.
Yeah, it's interesting. If I'm reading telemetry correctly, Hodgson's pitted for 11 lap old mediums.
Yeah, that's a Hodge
choice.
That's a Hodge move right there, if you ask me.
We'll have to have our Ted Kravitz to check, but it's interesting if he did, and focusing on the int.
Yeah, I think normally Mercedes have the run of bad pit stops in Bahrain, but Hodge has decided to spread it around a bit. We've got a nice little leader gap at the moment, whole field within 13 seconds. Everyone bunched up to each other. We're just entering lap 22, so almost certainly the final lap here. Yeah, Hodge is back in the pits, boys. Here at home. Take a bow, son. You've done it 3 in a row. There it is. Make your 4th stop of the race. Come in Red Bull colours. Travis is clapping you on from the gallery. The pit crew are chanting your name. He takes a lap of honour because in our hearts, he's already won 3 stops in a row. Hodge's hat trick puts him right back into P17. Wait, are those you softs?
Wait.
Oh, no. Okay, good.
Okay. I was going to say...
That would have been...
If they would have been used softs, as we see...
Gaben's got 8 seconds.
Oh, this is going to be interesting final few laps. I reckon we're going to get probably 6 laps of racing. It's... as production and Ted Kravitz said, it's an inverse of Q2. Actually, they have all mediums at the top half of the grid, and then the lower half of the grid all starting on those softs, ready to start making moves.
Oh, money moves everywhere. The safety car is almost certainly going to come in. The whole pack is together. It will come in during the end of this lap, leaving, as you say, 6 laps of racing, 24 through 29. Somtha leads. Everyone can finish the race and probably will finish the race on this tyre compound. Even if another safety car comes in, you're probably looking at staying on the current course and on the current tyres rather than making a switch, because everyone's in a currently chaotic state. You've got all of the drivers coming down to play poker with each other for the final time. Soft drivers obviously got the advantage in terms of pace, but they have to overtake everyone. Gaben is probably my one to watch in terms of how many people he can overtake. But, of course, the one to watch in general is P1. Somtha is leading the race with 6 laps to go. I personally love to see it. And Mancho and Zydox will give him the stiffest of competition as we go into these final few laps. Zydox, I hate to say it, is probably the favourite at this point, because it looks like he's just smurfing away with VLF1. But Somtha has got something special right now. I hope he can keep it up. Alex, over to you for the restart.
It's all about composure at this point. Just place your car in the right place as we see restart. Nice restart from Somtha, trying to keep Mancho behind going into turn 1. Mancho really diving down the inside, goes too deep, and Somtha just cuts back, takes that position back. Mancho really trying to send it turn 1, opens up the attack for Zydox going into turn 4. That was a bit of a mistake from Mancho going that deep there and protecting Somtha's lead, as now he comes under attack from behind by Zydox. So we see Brandon overtaking Carlos on this restart. Looks like the rest of the positions stayed the same.
Yeah, Mancho and Zydox fighting really closely through turn 2. The side-to-side contact there, and I don't know if there's wing damage there, but it really gives Somtha a giant lead. A lead of 1.5 seconds at this point. Mancho is really occupying all of Zydox's time and energy here. Somtha he just gets to go into a vacuum at the moment, and it looked like Mancho is in a wall there. He was in a close bit of contact with Zydox. He's been forced off, back on the track in P7. I'm almost certain he has some sort of damage, even if it's not visible on the car. But Somtha is the real winner there. The downside is Somtha now has a fully focused Zydox to fight. Shadow is off at the back, but no safety car at the moment. Somtha still herring it down. That final straight, we've got another full lap, full 24, until DRS starts on 25, 5 laps to go. Somtha he must be feeling the adrenaline, the heart shaking, these weak arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Full adrenaline going through him at the moment. Impress is in P4, this is not a drill. He's surrounded by the Alpha Tauri boys. Miffy is closing down on Impress now as they go down the home straight, looking to be a really close battle into that final corner. Let's take a quick look at the soft runners. I believe Gaben was the first one there. He came out in P11, P12. He's up to P9 and trying to chase down Franklin. Great switch by production there. We've got a yellow flag from Maka, and it looks like Maka is off the track coming after turn 3. Envy had an issue as well. He slowed down, and Monty went off the track at turn 1. So it looks like a collective set of issues there. Somtha still leading out Zydox, but Zydox is now in DRS range for when that DRS restarts next lap, lap 25. Somtha and Zydox now exist in a vacuum. They're the only 2 drivers at the front, out of DRS range from the rest.
All I can say is stop the count. Stop the count. I think I can speak for anyone in VLF1 where we would love to see Somford pick up his first win of the race, but as you say, he's got a full power Zydox bearing down on him. He's already within that DRS range and it's not even activated yet. It's going to take a miracle for him to hold him behind, but we've seen stranger things happen. Can he keep Zydox behind him as we see them coming onto the lap where DRS is activated? They won't have it for this straight. But they'll have it for the next one. Can Somther keep Zydox behind him? Yes or no?
It's looking too difficult. I think Zydox will overtake him at least once before the end of this race. Somther can still stay with him and go for a late attack, but Zydox has played this very well. I think they'll both be just nailing through the batteries right now. They want to get clear of each other, but they just can't. They're just so closely matched. But Zydox has had the pace throughout the entirety of tonight. He's had the pace throughout qualifying. He's been able to cut through the field twice so far. Envy retires from the session, but it doesn't look like a safety car at this point. It looks like a pit retirement. Back to the front, Zydox, Somther fighting with each other very closely. Dormin is more than 2 seconds adrift. This is two gladiatorial flying aces having a dogfight with one another, and we are all privileged to be in the auditorium for it. The rest of the field making their way through Sector 2. Gaben making his soft tyre gambit count. He's now 0.5 seconds from Sunny. He's advanced 5 positions. The soft tyres do look great, but we're going to get into parity point pretty soon, I believe. We've got Somther and Zydox now 3/10 apart. They're making their way through brain surgery, and they're going to be sweating. This is the type of the game where you get the physical reactions. You start shaking, you start second-guessing, your vision gets a bit blurry, you start intently focusing. One mistake is critical at this stage of the Grand Prix. Somther is under heavy attack from Zydox here and is probably about to be overtaken on the DRS straight. Let's see if Zydox can do it. Positions his car, gets the exit following Somther, eyes like a hawk from Zydox, following him all the way down the home straight. Will he go inside or outside? He goes on the outside, looking for the approach down to turn 1. Zydox is clearly ahead at this point. Somther is going to slot him behind. Zydox makes it happen.
Yeah, he's going to look to stay with him with the DRS, maybe make a late move. I'm not too sure what the battery's like. Hoping Something's got a decent battery as we see Zydox waving around across the track. Something with similar battery to Zydox. So it's going to be an interesting battle. Can he stay with him? I'm going to have no nails by the end of this race. This is real exciting to see. As we see lots of changes around the midfield. Miffy jumping up, Gaben fighting with him, Mancho and Impress dropping down from that P4 position, unfortunately. Not too sure what happened there, but he was in a great position. Hopefully he can still bring home points, which I'm sure he would love to do. He's currently under attack by both Ferraris right now. So you see Gaben really starting to cut through this grid right now. Just over a 10th behind Miffy. Going into brain surgery, he's looking to make moves happen. So we see Hodgson making the move on Glenn right now, going around the outside. Hodgson looking to really make up positions. Something's also staying within DRS. Can he make a move happen? It'll have to be a late one, but can he make it happen? We'll have to see. We see Zydox at the fastest lap of the race, but something is keeping with him with that DRS. Not looking to make a move now, but he's looking to stay with him. Maybe see Zydox make a mistake as he goes deep into turn 1, allows Somther to get closer. How's DRS for this next section? Is he going to look for a move? Has a little peep outside, but no, decides to tuck in, follow him down. Misses the apex slightly. Zydox runs a bit wide. They're forcing each other into mistakes as we see more changes around the midfield. Franklin moving up. Oh, this is really nail-biting stuff. I don't know if I can keep watching.
Yeah, but we have to. It's staring into the abyss. Somther tries to chase down Zydox. He's at risk of falling out of DRS here. The chain behind them, by the way, Gaben has made his way from P12 with that final soft tyre switch. He's up to P5 on track, but those penalties are going to count against him. Mancho is just behind him. He's leading out Franklin, Impress, Miffy, Hodgson, and Glenn. They're all very close together, and this is a battle for points as well. Hodgson had some earlier misfortune. This fought his way back into the points positions. Miffy looking for a move on Impress. It's an absolute clown show. They're going into brain surgery here. It's the left turn, and then the right where every bit of traction matters, but they're not all on the racing line here. It's Hodgson coming round the side. I am surprised they all stayed on the track right there. They're looking for the best line to come into that straight after turn 14. They've somehow all made it through some miracle of science. Glenn looking for a move now on Miffy. He's going to try and get that Ferrari into a points position and make an attack on the final corner, or is he looking for the switchback? Miffy had to make a really late break there, and that chain is going to continue. I'm sorry, Somtha fans. Zydox is out of the DRS range of Somtha. He's got a 1.3 second lead going into 28 second last lap.
Yeah, outside of barring any mistakes or maybe any penalties he might pick up, maybe a 3 second on the last lap, it looks like that's wraps for Somtha, unfortunately, but he's in a very good place. We see Shadow Hopper picking up another 3 second time penalty. It's definitely not been Alpine's race this race. So we see 3 riders. Oh, unsure as what happened there. Forced out wide. Brandon gets a penalty for that.
Did Brandon just hit his own junior driver? I think Brandon just hit Carlos. It looks like network issues maybe at play here, but that was Brandon, Carlos, and Whopper all going into turn 4 and then the following section. Almost as one entire computing block. Sonny is going to make an advance on Dormin. Sonny does have a penalty here. I believe it is 3 seconds. Dormin is going to be under attack from Gaben as well. Gaben has an 8-second penalty. So Dormin at the back of these two, Gaben and Sonny, Aston Martin drivers. But if he can stay with them, he's going to get that P3 because of the penalties. He's going to be in a really good position. 15 points, a great reward for Dormin. Big if he can make it happen. Dormin looking for some good stuff here. Hodgson with a really bad approach there into turn 14. Had a couple of wiggles onto brain surgery. Meanwhile, Zydox is on his final lap. He's going to look for another win. He's more than 2 seconds ahead of Somtha. Only the gods or his PC can stop him now. Gaben, Dormin very close to Sonny. We've got Blaze and Maka fighting. Maka uncharacteristically low in the standings. Blaze has been disqualified. He didn't use the right tyre compounds. He's calculated on epic proportions. He has absolutely minced his final strategy. But we can look at that later and laugh at him. For now, Zydox is halfway through his final lap. He's well clear of Somtha, almost 3 seconds. So penalty shouldn't affect much at this stage. Monty at the back having a couple spins. The only place that's really under contest is Dormin and Mancho. Dormin overtaking Gaben here, but Gaben's got an 8-second pen. Mancho is just behind them in the pack. Mancho is in the wall. You hate to see it. He's suddenly dropped from contention for P4, P5. And Franklin may be looking for the do here. He's looking for the overtake. He's half a second behind Mancho. And there are no penalties at risk here. This is fighting for track position. Mancho presumably has some sort of damage, and it's going to be a fight in the last couple of corners. Meanwhile, Zydox comes towards his last corner himself. Zydox is looking for a sick dub. It would be his 4th win overall, his 3rd this season. He comes home, and Zydox is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round 5 of Season 6, Somtha so valiantly comes home in 2nd place. Let's look at the rest of the timing stack here. Has Dormin done enough to get in range of Sonny? 2.9 seconds he has! He's just got ahead of Sonny, and fantastic work for Dormin here. Miffy has spun around at a crazy late stage, and there's been several spins here. We've got a DNF for Mancho, we've got Franklin spun around, we've got Miffy spun around, we've got Hodgson in P6, Glenn in P5. What's happened? I need to look at that last turn incident again, but I feel the stewards will be very active through the night looking at the chaos that engulfed the grid. Glenn got P5. Who saw that one coming, guys? Sonny in P4. Gaben had a lot of pens already, but the grid was stacked together. Gaben is out of points, P12 as things stand. Maka, who was so low, is now P7. Alex, I don't know what just happened.
Neither do I. That's... Wow. That's really insane. I can't really comprehend what's gone on there. Glenn's driver of the day, I suppose.
Yeah, P18 up to P5. That's a driver of the day performance anyway.
Yeah,
so,
like...
Let's see if we can get all these stats. I feel these stats are going to be very critical. So I'm going to try and get top to bottom. I'm going to try and get pens and without pens. We're going to be looking at these with stewards for a while. It's not quite the chaos of the finish at Saudi Arabia where we had to recalculate based on Zydox existing in 3 quantum planes. But I think we're going to see a lot of action over that last turn. Franklin was involved, Miffy was involved. Glenn got a giant leap on everyone as a result. It almost overshadows Zydox's brilliant win there. He's cut through the grid many times. You love to see it. It's a real credit to him. He's performed really well today, and we're almost now rooting against him simply because he's so dominant. It's the New York Yankees, it's the Yomiuri Giants, it's the Manchester United 1990s team. There's all sorts of reasons, but it's he's performed like a machine. He's come in really strongly.
Yeah, it's what a fantastic race and what a way to end it. I mean, obviously, you don't want to see things go down to penalties, but if I'm honest, that was one hell of a race. I really enjoyed watching it, and I really enjoyed casting it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Really enjoyed being here with you today, Alex. It's a nice return to 2023 to VLF1. I'm obviously I don't like casting with a cough, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'll have my raspy voice in work tomorrow, but we take those. It's been a fantastic experience. Even the drivers who had a few spins, they were certainly within pace when they were controlling the cars. They can look forward to the next few races as an opportunity to improve. Congrats to everyone who got points. Commiserations to those who missed out in the most agonizing of circumstances, including that last turn powerhouse, or as Brandon would have it, not knowing what tyres constitute finishing a race. Now, that's actually an interesting one for me because looking at Brandon's tyre log in the race director screen, I can see that he was on softs and mediums, which looks legal to me, if I'm honest. So
yeah, we have seen that before. So yeah, he is not going to be very happy with that one. And shit game go next.
Yeah, it's not the one, but we'll of course look into anything like that with the stewards. We've got a team of I believe it's 7 or 8 stewards from across the constructors and projects in VLF1. We forward any issues from the stewards or any of the captains to the stewards, and within 2 or 3 days they get resolved, they get voted on, and they get applied to the classifications. I think for the disqualification one, Brandon's just going to have to take the L, but it really sucks. On the other side, though, where there's despair, there is joy. When one door closes, another one opens. My dad said that. Very wise man, very bad carpenter. And Glenn managed to advance so far up the field, got driver of the day, got 10 points, barring steward reviews. And yeah, it just goes to show the volatility of a very stacked field in VLF1. Peak sporting competition. You love it.
Yeah, and with that hell of an end to a race, I'm going to throw it back to the desk to see if you and Travis can make sense of what happened. Take it away, Travis.
Well, let's start with dissecting the race in Somfy's point of view. So, starting as high as he did, and then we had the fireworks with Mancho and Sunny, wasn't it, in front of him?
Yeah, like the start of the race seems ages ago, to be honest.
It does, yeah. A lot happened, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, we had 2 safety cars in total. Before that, Somtha was starting off in P3, competing really well. Went from softs to mediums early on, and as a result, did the thing that most people did during the first and second safety cars: pitted for mediums early on, and then when the first safety car came in, pitted for the second set of mediums. Somtha didn't make a switch at the second safety car, and in general, I think most of the drivers that finished high up were the drivers that didn't make that late switch. I don't know how much of that is correlation with them being the drivers sort of at the front anyway, or causation in that was the better compound. But yeah, Somtha did the tyre strategy as by the book as he could have done. He was looking really good towards the end. Obviously, Zydox was a clear favourite to overtake him towards the end, but in everyone's heart of hearts, I think we all imagine the one scenario that Doctor Strange conjured up, where Somtha came home with the win. So sucks for him to come away with a great performance, to come away with a P2. Fantastic work for him. It's a lot of points for Merck. They need them right now. And yeah, that win will come. It's just when. It's not today.
Yeah, let's talk to the man himself to see how his POV might enlighten us as to what the hell was going on. So let's bring him in. Hello, Somtha.
Hey, Somtha.
Hello.
bittersweet this moment, to be honest.
Another non-win.
Yeah, I mean, another not on win. It's like Brandon's 100th, but we won't say that one on stream. But yeah, it's so bittersweet. I want to be saying congratulations on your first win. I've just said before you came on live, it will come. It's just not today. How were your emotions going into that final stint and seeing Mancho and Zydox behind you?
Well, I was a little hopeful, but I needed Mancho to not bin it. I needed Mancho to battle Zydox and keep him back. Because I just couldn't compete in pace with either of them, to be honest with you. So the fact that they were battling was good for me, and I suppose the second best thing besides them taking each other out is one of them being taken out. So yeah, I can't complain.
Did you get the end of race shakes at all? Did you get the jungle drums? Did you feel it in your heart of hearts?
Not really, because I knew it was coming. I knew Zydox was coming for me. So there wasn't really a point where it's like, okay, I could win this. That first safety car, there was like, it's halfway through the race, so a lot could still happen. It's like, okay, I'm in with a shot of the podium here, which is much more than I was expecting coming into this race.
Yeah,
so, I mean, can't complain with second again. So keeping up the podium streak.
It's fantastic work. Assuming that none of the positions get reversed, it will keep you in second in the championship. So Zydox will jump to the top with 3 straight wins.
Yeah.
At this point, do you become at what point in the string of podiums and great results will you see yourself becoming a championship contender? Do you think you're there yet, or do you think you're a lucky top 6 driver?
I mean, I don't think I am, and I would say no, but I'm there at the top. So, make of that what you will. But I don't believe I have the raw pace to win races and certainly win the championship. I'm just kind of being in the right place at the right time to make use of other people's misfortune.
Well, you say that, but Brandon didn't believe he had the raw pace in the Austrian Grand Prix this year. And he finished 16th. He doesn't work for some people. Yeah, sucks. But yeah, anything you can do is great. To be up top is great at this stage of the season. Even if you feel you're overperforming, hopefully that stands you in good stead. So yeah, great work. How was the team atmosphere with Blaze, with Impress, with Carlos today?
Yeah, I mean it was all good, positive vibes only. Brandon's gonna curse me because on like the first lap, as I went through brain surgery, I was like, "Careful, brain surgery," and then he binned it. And that was somehow my fault. So yeah, we moved. But apart from that, yeah, everything's cool. Everything's chill.
No, fantastic. You love to see it. I'm glad you're continuing the great tradition of Pog Merc calls for me.
Yep.
Trav, anything to ask our
Yeah, one last thing. If you can just please talk us through the mindset. What was going through your head during the second safety car?
Second safety car. Well,
It's hard to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the second safety car. Well, I mean the first safety car to start with came out like the best possible time for me. Mancho just pitted onto softs. Sonny had already pitted onto hards for his attempted one stop. So I mean, at that point, I definitely wasn't expecting to be, fighting for a race win. But the second safety car, I mean, not much was going from my head. I just needed to get a good start and hope that Mancho and Zydox would battle out behind me and let me get away, which we did a little bit. But then that came to an end, obviously. And then it was just kind of making sure I finished and didn't bin it because there was a big enough gap behind me to third. So yeah, I mean, not too panicked. I was kind of nervous at the first safety car restart, but second one, I've already done it once. So yeah.
Yeah, great work, Sumther. Before we say goodbye to you for the evening, any final words for anyone out there on stream?
No, not really.
Nice. That his trash talk is done for the season. Yeah, are we doing a chill 2023?
Yes. Well, no, not FIFA now. We're done now. But yeah, no trash talk. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Get good.
Love
get
it.
out, I guess.
Hans Neiman moment. Thank you, Sumther. It's fantastic to have you on stream. Sucks I can't congratulate you on the win, but 18 points, great performance. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
You love to see it, yeah. I like that from Sompa. He's challenging, he's challenging what I used to feel back in those seasons. But moving on from the Mercedes, shall we go? Shall we go closer to my home? Shall we go towards the Red Bull camp?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see it. Let's see what we can find from Red Bull.
So, shall we have a little talk about Dorman, who started off quite high up and then fell somewhere towards the middle, I believe. I saw him in like 9th or 10th. Do you remember what happened?
No is the short answer to that one. But looking at the tyre strategies, he did similar to Somther. So soft, medium, medium, went in for the early stop. Would have switched for the second set of mediums at the first safety car, not taking the switch in the final round. So made a really good tyre strategy work. Had a fairly fastest lap, 130.6, beat over half the field. So kept up consistent pace and was sort of in a vacuum towards the final stint. So sort of got ahead of the trailing back, and then had to fight a couple of Aston Martins in the final few laps.
Yeah, and speaking of the fight, thanks to the penalties, I suppose, but he managed to clench a spot on the podium, so that's a fantastic result. Shall we talk to the man?
Let's get him in.
Yeah, let's bring him in straight through.
Yeah, boy, we got him. Hey, Dorman.
Hello.
You all right? Well, welcome to the desk. How are you doing?
A bit tense after that last lap.
Oh man, I can imagine it looked scarier from behind you, but I can imagine fighting two Aston Martins was the most stressful part anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I let Sonny through. I thought I'm not going to keep him behind when I don't have DRS. So I thought I'll let him through on the small straight, the back straight, get the DRS on the main straight. But then Gavin snuck through as well. And then I was in an issue because I thought Gavin might do a Perez or Hamilton in Abu Dhabi and slow me up. And he did. And then I sent it. And then he tuned in on me. Then I had to send it to 10, which was a really bad idea in any other scenario. And then he tried to send on the last corner, and absolute madness occurred behind me. But I don't really know what happened.
Yeah, to be honest, neither do we, Dorman. Like we were just seeing the results up front. We saw you clearly taking home the net P3 after the penalties were resolved. And we then looked at the minimap to see that there were lots of dots where they shouldn't be. And that's about all the illumination I can give you right now. We just saw that Glenn got driver of the day in P5 and then thought, no, it's cursed. We're not going to look at it right now.
I feel bad for Mancho. He had a good race.
Yeah.
And he lost it half a K from the end.
Yeah, Mancho was absolutely pogging it. Obviously, he was pretty close to you throughout. Had a couple of close shaves himself in Sector 2. And then, retired. It sucks for him. And it's on his favourite track as well. So, yeah, it really sucks to see that happen to a driver. Was Bahrain up on the top of your list, or have you got your favourite track coming up later?
Oh, I don't know. Considering I've been ill for about a week, the AlphaTauri has been renamed to IlphaTauri this week, with both of us being ill. I got about an hour and a half practice, which so far has been the least. Maybe I should adopt Shadow Hopper's strategy of less practice, the better, because he does no practice and does better. Apparently, that's what he said. And I didn't do much practice this weekend, and it worked out.
Well, fun. It certainly did. Yeah, getting a podium is certainly working out. You beat 15 drivers who turned up, and if that's you with no practice, I'm scared of what Sweat Dorman can achieve.
Not much, considering my, I guess, crash in Austria in the last lap and the DNF in Saudi Arabia.
Well, it's early doors yet. We'll see what happens. I did have you down as my dark horse this weekend, and I'm glad you've repaid it. You did have it is your second podium of the season, third in the first Austrian Grand Prix. A couple of results which weren't up to the same caliber more recently. As that happens, you've got to 31 points, which I think will put you in sort of P6, P7, maybe in the World Championship. That'll be decided later on, and again after stewards. How are you feeling in terms of where is that for your home position? Do you think you belong in P6, P7? Is that too high? Is that just a base stepping stone?
I feel like could be a bit higher, not too much. I think maybe like P5. Both Aston Martins are out of reach. Zydox is out of reach. Somta seems a bit quicker than me, but we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, as I think Sonny showed by having a bit of a scrappy race. So, yeah, if you were to hypothetically take, say, points I missed out on, and I think even just Styria, that's an extra like 12 points. So, yeah, a bit a bit amusing that I have 31 points and only 1 point is not from my 2 podiums.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. Like, it's because it's very early on. The table is largely decided by just consistent points finishers. Sumther hasn't won a race, but he's P1. Glenn is normally my benchmark driver who doesn't really get podiums, but then gets consistent points. And he's just taken advantage of the battle of turn 16 to get P5 and driver of the day. So yeah, if you can do that over the course of a season, then get more consistent. You'll be up in the promised land of anywhere that isn't where Zydox and the Aston Martins are. Trav, anything you want to ask Norman? Your
No,
boy?
you've answered everything for me. Just wanted to say, like, yeah, there was a bit of a blip in the middle, but you pulled through it. And it was a hard fight, but well done and thank you.
It was fun but stressful. I had quite a quiet race actually.
Well, a quiet race which gets a podium. We take those every time. Dorman, before we say goodbye to you for the night, anything you want to say to anyone out there or any of your teammates or adoring fans?
Adoring fans. I'm sure Niall was listening. But I won't say what I want to say to him on a Twitch stream.
Nice.
And I'm sorry, Mancho, that you got the short end of the stick because I think he raced better than me throughout the race and quali.
Well, very sporting of you, unless we count the Nawal comment, and then I think you'll look for some clarification later. But yeah, cheers, Dorman. Well done getting the podium. Second,
much.
hopefully many more to come. Catch you later, my man.
Bye.
Okay, I think we've just got the 2 interviews for tonight. Charlie's taking some chill time. He's having his drinks. He's already walked to his yacht. He's
He deserves it. Yeah.
yeah. Obviously, there are many yachts in the middle of the Bahrain desert. He's just found one, and he's already kicking back with the Kimi Räikkönen vodkas. So yeah, Zydox is doing really well. I don't have a provisional table because obviously everything is still fluid with steward reviews. But Zydox P1, Sumther P2, Sonny Gaben fighting up there. I think Dormin will be sort of moving into the area with Maka, Mancho, and Hodgson to sort of fight for P4 overall. How are you feeling in terms of general strengths? Is there anyone a bit too high, a bit too low? How are you feeling about your own project team in Red Bull?
I think Zydox showed a very good case of what can go right for you. Like going from where he ended qualifying with the AI taking advantage of him, to put it in a nice way, and then seeing what he could do when he brought it all the way to the front of the pack, had a little bit of a argy-bargy with Sonny, which put him back a couple of steps. I believe he lost about 8 seconds to both Sonny and Mancho. And then he sort of pulled it back, albeit with the help of the safety cars, but where he ended it was a fantastic result for him.
Yeah, you'd love to see it.
As for the close to home Red Bull camp, what can I say? Hodge is back to his old ways. The 22 buff has worn out. We're in 23 now, and Hodge's old colours are shown.
Yeah, Hodge not winning a race, like he's really showing himself up. Dormin obviously smurfing it. Mancho obviously really unlucky. You hate to see what happened to Mancho.
Really unfortunate.
To go from the heights to the lows late in the race. I think Miffy lost a few positions. I think he was part of the casualties in the last corner. But
yeah,
we'll have to dissect that a bit more.
He sort of fell victim to what I like to call the inverse Q2. He was on the mediums at the end, and everyone behind him on the softs basically just nipping at his heels the whole way through those final 10 laps. So for him to fall back was expected. But yeah, he was just fighting an uphill battle throughout, and it's rough for him to end the way it did.
Yeah, it's mixed fortunes, shall we say. But the beautiful thing about a project team is sometimes people do well, sometimes people do badly. It will equalise out, and you've all got your Red Bull boys to comfort. when things go wrong. You'll all have each other's backs.
Yeah, we get nice and cozy around the fireplace. It's all
Yeah,
good.
boy. And then they all hop on your bus later, and you give them a big beep beep. So,
Choo choo.
so anyway, a final word when we talk about points and the classification. Glenn, Carlos, and Impress. They really haven't been having the season of note so far. Glenn on 4 points, Carlos 2, Impress 2. They all got points today. Glenn got 10 points, Carlos got 4, Impress 2. They're both steadily Travis choo-choo chugging onwards. So great to see those guys get points. Apart from that, I really like the way that, even though it sucks for some people when they have misfortune at the last moment, love the unpredictability of it, love how stacked the field is, but almost anything could happen. And as we go towards future weeks, I believe we've got Abu Dhabi next time. We're going to be seeing some fun overall. We're gonna have some fun times together.
Yep, next Saturday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix pre-show.
Yeah, boy. And then afterwards, we've got Abu Dhabi race, round 6, season 6. It's going to be devilish. That's going to be at Sunday, 7 p.m. 3-session qualifying, followed by the race where we crown Sumter's first win of 2023, at the same time as Hodgson's first win of 2023.
Mercedes propaganda, innit? But yeah, there's nothing else from us, I think. So I believe we can wrap up this wonderful evening.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you, Credden.
Thank you as well. It's been great to cast with you. It's been great to jump between the Red Bull boys, you and Alex, on the desk and on the cast. 10 out of 10 would do again. And yeah, until I see you next, have a great one.
Thank you very much, production overlord Stuhlbind, for streaming for us today, and thank you as well to Alex for being on the cast.
Yeah, boy. Thanks to all drivers, anyone who's been involved in that weird loose capacity like Fabs, who's jeffing for the teams, and of course anyone who's just sort of here in a spectating capacity, just watching all the fun and all the banter and all the crashes and wondering when the next League of Legends stream is.
And there's nothing else to do but say love you all and God bless. Good night.
Anyway, here's some Pentakill.